It's the end of a long week. You can get me on Monday.
Okay, good.
All right, good man, no problem. It is the 9 till noon show. Our Friday panel about to join us, but at 9 o'clock, time for news, and it's Good Morning, Catherine Gaffney.
Good morning, Greg. Passengers arriving here from Britain are being asked to take an antigen test for 5 consecutive days to tackle the spread of the Omicron variant. The government says anyone who gets a positive result should immediately seek a PCR test and self-isolate. 6 cases of the variant have now been identified in Ireland. Immunology professor Kingston Mills says the new advice is a positive development but isn't going to stop it spreading.
The antigen testing will pick up cases of Omicron. It's certainly worthwhile. I mean, keeping out the virus has always been a positive, but the trouble is we've already got cases. So I think that it's going to be difficult, even with travel restrictions, no matter how good they are, to stop the spread of Omicron in Ireland.
A Donegal deputy believes proposed UK immigration laws could have major consequences for the tourism sector in Donegal. New proposed restrictions on cross-border travel to Northern Ireland would see non-Irish EU citizens have to apply online clearance to enter Northern Ireland. Deputy Pierce Doherty raised the issue with Taoiseach Leo Varadkar in the Dáil. He says the move would undermine the Good Friday Agreement and asked what action the government is taking to say to the UK that this isn't on.
It's so disgraceful, it's such a shameful measure, it threatens the livelihoods and particularly the tourism sector in my own region of the North West. It placed massive stress on residents here in this state from other EU countries. It undermines the Good Friday Agreement and the Common Travel Area. And Ireland once again forces the prospect of the collateral damage of a Tory government in Westminster that doesn't give a damn about Ireland.
Responding, the Taoiseach says he isn't surprised by the move.
We're certainly going to communicate to our UK counterparts our concerns and our objections to this measure. Unfortunately, it doesn't come as a huge surprise. If you recall, part of the argument in favour of Brexit was about controlling their borders and also about reducing and stopping immigration from the European Union. And this is part of the outworking of that.
An investigation is continuing after a number of holiday home caravans were broken into in North Inishowen. The break-ins happened at some stage between Wednesday and Thursday of this week in the Malin Head area. Anyone with information is being urged to contact Gardaí in Buncrana. And every household in the country is set to have €100 knocked off their first energy bill of 2022. The government is planning the move to ease the financial burden as a result of rising energy prices. It will cover the first 2 months of the year and will be deducted from the bill when it's issued in March. Political editor with the Irish Examiner, Danny McConnell, says households won't have to do anything to claim the discount.
My understanding is that essentially it's all been kind of tied up with the energy company, so a flat payment will go from the central exchequer to the energy companies, and this credit essentially will just be applied to every domestic bill. It's not being charged, or it's not certainly being given to any businesses.
Weather now. Today will be a cool, bright, fresh day with sunny spells and scattered showers, temperatures of 6 or 7 degrees. We're back with more 10. Until then, good morning.
Some people really go for it at Christmas, but when it comes to your festive drink, we think it's better a little more simple. The new Ncbi Choco Fudge Latte. Christmas joy, simply done. Not available on delivery orders until the 1st of February 2022. Chocolate flavour syrup, participating restaurants only, subject to availability.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. You're very welcome along to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. And it's another busy show for you. Coming up very shortly, we have our Friday panel, whom I'll introduce in a moment. A little later on, between 10 and 11, we're going to be answering your legal questions with Seamus Gunn. And then between 11 and 12, we have Fionnuala and Micheal on with us discussing all things entertainment. We want you to get involved in the conversation, of course. How do you do so? Well, you text or WhatsApp 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000 or call 074 91 25,000. Your emails to comments at highlandradio.com. And good morning. If you are watching us across our social media platforms, you can engage with us there. We're streaming live on YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland, or on Facebook at Highland Hub or at Highland Radio News and Sport. Right, so on to our panel. We say good morning first to Independent Councillor Micheal and Easbuig. He is, of course, a rep in the Glentees Municipal District area. Good morning to you, Micheal. Thanks for joining us. It's great to have you on board. Noeline Blackwel is CEO of the Dublin Rape Crisis Centre, a regular guest on this programme, but I believe the first time joining us for this segment. Good morning to you, Noeline.
Yeah, first time for this. Good morning, Greg.
It's great to have you with us. And last but certainly not least, Reverend Adam Pullen, Rector of Stranorlar, Meanglass and Kiltyvoe. Good morning, Reverend. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Greg.
Right, okay. Listen, I might start off just with the last story in the news there, or one of the last stories in the news. This ongoing conversation, these moves by the British government to propose UK immigration laws, which, of course, could have a major consequence for us here in this part of the world, and not just for tourism, but for those working as well. It would see non-Irish EU citizens have to apply for online clearance to enter Northern Ireland. Now, of course, if such a move were to be introduced, how do you monitor it? And the great fear is that maybe it might be done on the border. Your reaction to that briefly, Reverend Adam?
I think it's unfortunate, but as was mentioned in the Dáil, it's an outworking of the whole Brexit process, especially with the present government. I would hope that they would honour the fullness of the Common Travel Agreement, where people residing in the different jurisdictions could travel one to the other. And I would imagine, unfortunately, that in London, they haven't thought of the implications of this in Northern Ireland. Having lived in the UK, I often had to explain things Irish north and south. So I suspect it's probably out of a lack of knowledge there.
Unfortunately, having visited Dublin, I also have to explain the realities of living north and south. Noeline, your reaction to that news? I mean, is that something that would resonate down the country as much, I wonder, as it might up in a border region?
So I think there's some things about it. No, I think it is not as important if you're living away from the border, if your life doesn't involve cross-border connections as much as it would in Donegal, for instance. But actually today on International Human Rights Day, it is important to recognise that when you have immigration, you have a real issue around particularly the implementation of something like this. I mean, something was always going to have to be done. I think it's an awful pity it's being done on the basis of citizenship rather than residency. We are all resident in a place, and to have to look back to our citizenship for any occasion that we travel within the island is unfortunate to start with, but as the Reverend Adam says, it's probably an outcoming of Brexit anyway. But the real issue for me is, how do you implement something like this? As you mentioned, it could be on the border, which or whether. It means some people, not others, will be asked for their visas, for their passports. And immigration being the way it is, you need very strong controls in place if it's not to be done on the basis of the look of you, whether it's your skin colour or your how rich you look, or whether you're driving a car. So those are the kind of things that I think don't look like they've been thought about at all.
Micheal, Cholm?
Well, I suppose I strongly believe that we should never have borders, no matter what it is, and people should be able to travel wherever they want on the planet, seeing that we're all living on the one planet. But it shows you the arrogance of the Westminster's government and the lack of understanding and how this affects their ongoing occupation of 6 counties, how this here affects us in the border areas. And I suppose my concern would be, would they then move to replace the border? Replacing the border, how does that look in terms of our island? And if you look at our history and the military opposition that would be to any type of border whatsoever in our country. And I suppose the only solution to all this here is for Westminster to pack their bags and leave our lands.
Reverend, just briefly again, are you following? It's impossible. It's very hard not to if you consume any news. The trials and tribulations of Boris Johnson, of the British government. It really is quite remarkable what's going on. The amount of controversy he's facing, even by his own standards, it is. There's an awful lot there between the refurbishment of his flat, these parties that did or didn't happen, the risk he might lose a by-election in a Tory heartland, so to speak. But yet he's got parental leave now, which is really quite convenient. Maybe it'll help things go away, Reverend. But it's hard to see how much more the British public will take from Boris Johnson, especially with the confusion over their recent Plan B announcements.
I don't think he's anywhere near as popular as he once was. I know a lot of people have been frustrated with him for some time. He doesn't seem to play very fair with the truth. Might be a way of putting it.
I think that's a very generous way of putting it, Reverend.
And I think people are beginning to see beyond the spin that he's saying. And I know from friends where I lived in the UK, they're deeply concerned about the handling of COVID-19, let alone all these scandals that are coming about the party that did happen, who went to it, who didn't go to it, whether it was known or not. I can only begin to imagine the gut-wrenching feeling of some people who have lost loved ones and haven't even been able to go in and say goodbye to them. And yet there was a party. So I think he's in for a rough ride.
Would you share that view, Noeline?
You see, I don't know that anyone, and it kind of goes back to the first question you brought. I don't even know whether I believe him when he says about the visas, because I'm not sure anyone actually believes it. He seems to be somebody who was elected in spite of being very fluid in the way he interprets things. I'm trying to be kind as well, or I just don't know. But actually, no, I'm going to be straight about it. He lies and gets away with it a lot. And he tells untruths and gets away with it. And therefore, I'm not sure that he lied about a party is going to be a huge thing for him. But it might be a convenient diversion from people who can't get what they need in their home. Even if you leave aside the big questions of COVID.
Yeah.
If they can't get what they need this Christmas, is it better that he has to answer questions about maybe he was a fun guy who went to the party rather than why are the shelves
But it's
there?
hard to keep a track of the diversions, because if that story's a diversion tactic, well then his announcement of Plan B on the day when it really hotted up, you could argue that is another distraction. Obviously, and congratulations to him and his partner. The birth of his child is probably also and the paternity leave that is to follow is a welcomed distraction. But you know, I just wonder, Noeline, the one thing I have spotted about this story is that all the newspapers in Britain are holding this government to account, and they tend to hold them to account. I wonder, we don't really see that as much here, do we? You know, there's been some really big controversies. I'm thinking too of the ongoing one involving the current Taoiseach, future Taoiseach, whereby it doesn't get the same front page day after day grilling. Do you think the press are tougher in Britain on their government than the Irish press are on this government?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think he has got away with an awful lot. And there's been a lot of lack of accountability in the British press for very serious failings and very serious misjudgments. Now, I think in some ways too, media does, well, say it in your present, Greg, you do like to focus in on something just for a little while and then move on with it. So sometimes you do look at what we hold people accountable for, and they are not the biggest things, because the biggest things are quite dull and often don't lend themselves to a 2-minute slot on radio or even a 10-minute slot on radio. So the media have their place in accountability. I actually think our media do it quite well. I think they do investigate. I think they do look. I don't think our media get the resources they need in order to do the thorough investigation that maybe was a luxury 20 years ago or something. But actually, I think we have a good media that does go, wait a minute, we need to hold this up. For instance, I'll just take something. I was kind of shocked last week or the week before, when the message seemed to come out that everything about COVID health was to come through government information services, and that the expert body method was not to speak out independently. And the media took that up. And in fairness, the government moderated their position or said they were misunderstood along the way. So I think they have a place in accountability, and I think they do it quite well.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with you if that's okay. I mean, one example, it has become the norm now, and obviously the likes of RTE and News Talk are accepting it, that a minister will not engage with a member of the opposition or someone with an opposing view. It is quite clear that they're hanging on the line. They'll start speaking when the other guest has concluded and is off the line, or vice versa. You know, personally, I think there's far more influence. The government, politicians have far more influence over the media than they should, or the media is too scared to stand up for them for fear of missing that interview at 6:30 in the morning. But anyway, I'm saying that as a consumer. You might just check as I get the next views, Noeline, make sure there's nothing obscure in your mic. I can hear you, but it's just somewhat muffled. Micheal Cllr, I know you're no fan, well, I presume you're no fan of Boris Johnson.
No, and I suppose when you look back, and I was just listening to what both of you were saying there, or three of you were saying there, and when you look, just the arrogance, and it's no more difference than, I suppose, the arrogance of the upper classes and the political classes in our own state, even if they're away at a hotel down the Midlands, or if they're having a party in Westminster. It's the pure arrogance, and it reflects how out of touch they are with the reality.
It's them and us, isn't it? It's you live by these set of rules of diktats, and we will operate and snigger about it our own way. And that's why that video, I'm not sure if you saw it, of a former press secretary laughing about this party that took place, knowing that what they did was wrong, laughing that there was no social distancing. And that's really what elevated this story to the level it's at now. But it underlines your point, is what I'm saying, is that it's a them and us. It's one rule for those that make the rules and others for those that must follow them.
Absolutely. And when you look at the reality, need that be in Dublin, or need that be in Cork, Manchester, or anywhere in England, where the working class right now, leading up to Christmas, will be cold, will be hungry, will not have all what they need to live their everyday fully, comfortably, and have the opportunity to prosper. Need that be through arts or education or any other aspects of life, due to the economic policy, which is the same economic policy that we see here within the Free State. That is that neoliberal pro-capitalist classes. And going back to what you were talking about in relation to the media, unfortunately, what we don't really have is a proper independent media in that be England or here in the state here, because granted they are, like, and of course, Greg, I'll have to be bumming up yourself. You're independent viewpoints yourselves. But anyway, that aside,
how do you class an independent media, though?
The problem is that the media classes are controlled by the very wealthy, who shares the very ideology of those on the right, which are in government, and those who aspire to be in government very, very shortly. And that ideology is very much about looking after what is the upper classes in society and keeping the middle classes at bay. So unfortunately, until we have a more independent and more resourced media, that narrative, that ideology is what.
Yeah, but one of the biggest controversies at the moment, though, is how the media is resourced. Highland Radio, amongst others, received payments during the pandemic to try and keep people in jobs and what have you, and that is seen as being, oh well, if you're getting money, you must be pumping out the propaganda. Do you know what I mean? So how do you resource an independent media where it doesn't feel like those that are funding it are pulling the strings?
Well, if you look at, I suppose, even back during Thatcher's time, and certainly wasn't perfect, but it certainly had an alternative view, which we had the likes of Channel 4, which was very critical of state policy and where state was being driven to. We have in the state here, we have TGK, which it started off as a very independent media and certainly is a far more alternative maybe than the likes of RT and others, which again is very under-sourced. And I think that given proper resources, that yes, because bear in mind, not everybody shares that ideology. Not everybody shares the thinking of mainstream media, and people should and have alternative viewpoints. Look, I make no bones about it.
Let me just to give an example, though. You are from the left, right? But there are those that are on the right. And maybe even far right, okay, who feel that their views are not represented on the media at all. Do you believe all views should be platformed then, even if they're offensive to some, or even if they go against, say, for example, generally accepted medical situation? Does your free media give that section of society equal platform?
But no, look, first and foremost, and I've been very, very clear about this here, we should never, ever give platform or space to fascism. Anybody
who judges
that they have a right. Sorry, Yvonne, and let me finish this.
But Micheal, we do this every time you come on. This is a conversation.
No,
I don't know what it's like on Ocean, but this is what we do here.
What a dig!
No, I don't mean it like a dig, but we have a conversation here. Right? That's the way it works.
Yeah, but you tendency to speak over me at times. So what I'm saying is that certainly would not be given any platform to the far right in terms of fascism, those who spout hatred and those who believe in injustice. I believe that the vast majority of people within the state believes in freedom, love and human rights. Mm-hmm. And I think that those who advocate and work daily on issues that affects everybody, need that be somebody from Afghanistan living in this country, need that be somebody who's fighting for the right of their sexuality, or women or people of non-binary, is that we're not getting to hear the real voices from our communities.
Last question on this to Reverend Adam. When we talk about it, and not we or whatever, it's not really just a news story, or it's not really just sort of with Boris Johnson. There's a bit of almost a humour to it. It's impossible not to feel that way at times. There's a moral issue here, is there, that we do have those that make the decisions operate. I mean, even you happen to call out the fact that, it's blatant untruths that are being used. It's morally wrong, isn't it? We need whatever people's political beliefs is, we need to have a system, don't we, that we can trust, that is being honest with us and living by the same rules as we are, Reverend.
I definitely think honesty should be respected and upheld. Back to the media thing in relation to the UK. I think one of the biggest differences in the UK and Ireland is there are party papers and so forth.
Good point, yeah.
And so certain papers will be more aggressive against the Tory party, and then other papers will be nearly always favourable.
Do we not have that here, though, Reverend, in fairness?
I don't think we have it to the same extent. There is a flavour of that here in the Republic. I remember, for example, it was before the Labour government came in, and I was in university over there. And there was a landslide victory for Labour in the council elections. And I picked up a paper, wanted to read about it the next day. It happened to be the Times, and you barely know they'd lost any councils. So it was such a blatant skewing in the other direction. I do think, Micheal has mentioned that Channel 4 is particularly good, and certain other things. You need to know where to look in the UK for more balanced media. And the more in-depth programs tend to challenge them a bit more. But the only good thing, if there is a good thing coming out of all of this, is his untruths are coming back to haunt him, and then it's raising the question of how honest politicians are, because he seems to have got quite far on just saying what he wants to say, and the facts don't seem to matter, but of course they do matter.
Yeah.
And they particularly matter in this case because people were kept in their homes for their own safety so that the spread of COVID would be reduced. I know, for example, my own aunt wasn't even able to go in and say goodbye to her husband. So this is a personal impact, and it impacts a lot of people.
Yeah.
And if any good comes out of it, then there will be more questioning and challenging of what is said and then what is done.
Okay, interesting points. Okay, we'll be back with more from our guests on the 9 till noon show after we take this break.
Today's show is brought to you by the Silver Tassie Hotel, the ideal venue for an intimate Christmas get-together, serving festive lunch, afternoon tea, dinner and drinks throughout December.
Teagasc issues profit warning to farmers. For more in this week's Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Rising fertiliser and feed costs next year will claw back this year's farm profits. EU proposal puts export of 120,000 calves at risk. Cash buyers snapping up commonage land in the west. And get your trailer road ready with our checklist.
Plus, don't miss our flash sale, a 1-year digital subscription plus farm bucket full of goodies for €119. For details, go to ifj.ie/farm bucket.
Hi, Mary Ford here. If you're thinking of upgrading your car, borrow from Letterkenny Credit Union. Our loans have a competitive rate of interest, free life insurance, no hidden extras or deposit, and a speedy decision. Remember, you own the car. There is no mileage constraints with a loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Online application, collection, and transfer to your current account now available. Apply via our app or in our office today. Loans are subject to approval. Terms and conditions apply. Letterkenny Credit Union is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Christmas specials at Micheal and Fionnuala. There's a large selection of slim, straight and bootcut jeans from only $29.95. Crosshatch hoodie and jeans for only $59.95. There's also men's shirts and polo shirts up to 5XL at Micheal and Fionnuala. Gift vouchers available.
Dreaming of the perfect gift this year for your someone special? Why not give the gift of choice with the McElhinney's gift card? From luxury fragrances to designer clothing, your perfect Christmas gift awaits. Open Sundays from 1:30 to 6 p.m. or shop online with free next day delivery at mcelhinney's.com.
You can now apply for, renew and update your learner permit or driving licence online at ndls.ie. It's quick and simple to apply online. No paper, no forms, no fuss. And you can apply up to 3 months before your licence expires. Your learner permit or driving licence is now just a click away. All you need is a verified MyGov ID to securely apply at ndls.ie. A message from the National Driver Licence Service and the Road Safety Authority.
Make Christmas for everyone at Dunnes Stores. Enjoy 20% off Board Beer approved roasts for the whole family. Treat them to our fresh Irish rack of lamb or our sage and onion stuffed fresh Irish whole chicken. Or spoil them with our delicious 21-day matured fresh Irish sirloin roast beef. That's a fantastic 20% off roasts. Plus, with our 10/50 grocery voucher, you save even more. Dunnes Stores. Make Christmas for everyone. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop of €50 or more.
Christmas is covered at Letterkenny Shopping Centre. Free parking, shopping and Santa under one roof. Letterkenny Shopping Centre, bringing you the time at...
The time's 9:28. Now, a story that went a little bit under the radar was a letter from the Bishop of Waterford and Lismore. He accused a Labour Party TD of almost inciting hatred for suggesting religious patronage should be removed from schools. A letter from Bishop Alphonsus Cullinan addressed to Labour Party leader Alan Kelly and seen by the Irish Examiner, from which I'm reading the report, notes that Labour Party education spokesperson Aidan O'Riordan was adamant during the Labour Party conference early this month that religious patronage from schools should be gotten rid of. His motives were very clear and there seems to have been sustained applause from the delegates, the letter states. That, of course, upset the Bishop of Waterford and Lismore and others. Noeline Blackwel of the Dublin Rape Crisis Centre. What's your views on this?
So, to my mind, it's not that hard. We have state schools, a state programme, state funding. We have an ethos, a state ethos around education as well. And that's what we should be seeing. There is confusion in our system whereby, for instance, women would never have been properly educated had it not been for religious nuns over 100 years, 150 years. Religions played a huge part in bringing education to people, but in a system which says that the state is responsible for education and that people have a right to be educated by the state, the current mix of faith all faith institutions into our schooling system is no longer tenable. We have to be thankful for what was done in generations gone by, but right now the state should have its system of education, and it should not, and faiths with all their own values, which are not necessarily the values of the state, should not have a part to play. It's clear to me, having benefited from education in a faith school over the years, I know now that in fact the right that people have to a state education is not being vindicated. Again, I'll come to that on a day when human rights is kind of full and centre and should be in all our lives.
Who's pushing for this, though? I mean, it's not the people of the country, are they? I mean, let's say we could then have schools. Then we'd probably see more schools, with specific criteria for entry based on religion. So you could have one group of children of one religion going to another school and a queue to get in that, and then down the road another queue to get into. Is that not separating people?
So every child should be entitled to the state education, and if there are other things, if there are ways in which people, of course, want to promote their own faith, and that's their right as well, that should be done separately. In the same way that children who want to do horse riding or swimming or extra Irish language classes have to do that separately. The fundamental primary, secondary and third level education of the state should have the same ethos for every child and should not be influenced by ethos that is not tested. It probably means well, but it's not tested. It's not certain that the faith ethos that a school will have is necessarily the ethos of the state. I think that the bishop is wrong in this. But I think we would be a better society, more equal society, if everyone had access to state education free of state influence.
But are most schools not inclusive, even if they have a certain ethos? And is it not the case that they're all very welcoming anyway? No one's excluded. I mean, and also a school's not working really quite well as are. Why fix it if it ain't broke? Some might feel.
But where's your evidence for that? Where's the evidence that children are doing quite well as it stands right now?
Well, where's the evidence that they're not?
Yeah, so you can't have it because there's no test. There is no such evidence there. But if you are looking at what a state should be doing, the state should be providing an equal education to every child. At the moment, that is not happening. At the moment, there is diversity in what children are hearing, in what they're learning, in terms of inclusion, in terms of exclusion, and that is not tested. We assume it is all doing terribly nicely, but we are not looking to see, are we testing against pure inclusion and equality of education to every child wherever they are in this state.
Reverend Adam, your views?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't quite agree, but I suppose you wouldn't be surprised. But I know in our school, all the syllabuses and all the different subjects are given to us by the department. They're not given to us through our own patronage body, for the want of a better phrase. So we don't decide what's included and what's taught. That comes to us direct from the department, and I presume that's the same across schools of all different patronage. I know that in the schools that are part of my parish, we have quite a diversity of people. For example, we have a very large cohort in the school here in Cllr of Syrian refugee children. And actually they chose to come to our school. I think that's partly because our schools tend to be smaller, and I think that they felt that they might get a better opportunity because of smaller classes sizes, and obviously they're having to learn English. It wasn't their first language. And I know that the headmaster had to press quite hard to actually get extra English language provision for them, because to expect them to come up to stream with other children who've been in the system for years and English is their first language is a tall order. So yes, we are patron in our respect to the Church of Ireland and other patron bodies. There are non-church patron bodies as well. But we don't decide the syllabus or the particular subject matter. That comes to us from the government.
What to the point, and Noeline, correct me if I'm not saying it correctly, but we don't know because we don't have an alternative such, though there are alternatives, there are schools of non-denominational schools, but we don't know if we could be working better. Reverend Adam, sorry.
Well, I know the schools are inspected. Sorry, I thought you were talking to Noeline for a second.
No, I understand that. That's my mistake.
We know they're inspected, so they're inspected usually in terms of the whole syllabus and each subject in turn, and they have to give evidence of what they're doing, how they're teaching the particular subject, all the elements within the subject, and even down to not just subject level. I mean, one of the things that's on being inspected at the moment is child protection. So because we're on a board of management, that we have to be aware of and follow and say, yes, we've covered this, we've approved this. We are accountable to the department for what they give us.
And do these kind of proposals and discussions feel like, there's an attempt to sort of rid the country of certain religions? A lot of people feel that these are just, the latest battle in the war against sort of, eliminating religion from society almost. It doesn't go that far, does it? Some feel it, though.
I certainly hope not, but it depends in some quarters. Some people feel very passionately on this. And I think one thing in Ireland we find very difficult is we don't tend to hold well together where we don't have the same view or we disagree. And we don't have to think less of the other when we don't always have the same opinion. But I do think that, we have a lot to offer. We have for many years pioneered trying to bring education to children within my own denomination. And we have for many years, had quite a diversity of people that have been through our school system. Some may take a different view and some may think, well, we'd like it done differently. All we can do is say that we're doing our very best. We're trying to be considerate of others and be generous. And we would say from our Christian point of view, love our neighbour, even if our neighbour is different to us.
All right, Councillor Micheal, Cholm, what's your view?
Yeah, I think that people are very divided over this question. I think that there is a conversation that has to be had, a serious, open conversation. And as Adam says, it's really important that if somebody shares a different viewpoint, that we don't think ill of the other person and we exclude everything that other person has to say. Look, I would be very strongly of the opinion that the church should have no play in our schools. I'd be very strongly of the opinion that the state is elected by the people to look after the state, and that includes both our schools and our health, our hospitals. I think that religion, need that be anywhere in the world, is important because it's played a part of our existence for thousands and thousands of years, and it's played a part in dividing us for thousands and thousands of years. But I think if we are to learn about other people's faiths or people who don't, because I am very much an atheist, so I don't have that faith, and I believe that has to be respected as well. But I think we teach it at school or we teach it outside of school. As Noeline says, if you want to do any other subject that isn't on curriculum, that's something that is organised maybe by the community. Look, I remember when I first went on the board of Educate Together in Letterkenny, I found it very interesting, challenging. I unfortunately didn't spend much time at school. I left school at a very, very young age and a very uneducated person. My experience in the education system has been very negative, and we need to bear in mind that has a lot of my generation and those before me, it was very negative as well. But I do know that school now has changed dramatically. My children love their school and they love their teachers. There's no doubt about that. And teachers now are there because they want to teach and learn and hear and help create a better society, which I think was a big problem with some, not all, but a good lot of teachers in the past. But my view on the church controlling our schools, I don't believe it to be right. I don't believe it to be right that the head of a religious faith within any community automatically becomes a member of that board without it being elected. That's undemocratic. I do believe that faith within that school is the ethos that will be pushed within that school. And I'm very careful in terms of my terminology and language here, because I don't want it to be insulting to anybody's faith. But I do have issue with certain faiths. I have issues around the issue of how women are viewed within our faith, some of the faiths, or a lot of them. I have issues how people of different sexuality are viewed within and excluded. Sorry,
yeah, and that's not exclusive. Exclusive to Ireland either.
No, and that's why I'm being very careful in terms of my terminology there, Greg.
I mean, you'd be quite supportive. You'd be quite supportive of, say, for instance, other regimes or collections of people in other parts of the world that would have even poorer standards as it relates to us in treating people equally.
What do you mean by that?
Well, like, say, for instance, no, it's not a loaded question. It's just to talk to the complexities. I mean, you'd be a big advocate for the Palestinian people, for example. And there are serious issues in that country. I'm just pointing to the fact that it's all over the place, is what I mean, if that's clear.
Well, look, quite happy to come and discuss the issue of Palestine.
No, we're not getting into it. I was just widening it, and it's not unique to...
I've been a strongly advocator for human rights and justice and freedom and self-determination right across the globe, as you well know, from Cuba to Palestine, to the Basque Country, to our own country, obviously, and today we still have political prisoners. But going back to what the subject we're talking about is about church and state, and I think that since the foundation of the Free State, and bear in mind that we're 100 years and a couple of days, that the relationship between church and state has not necessarily been a very positive one, and that includes. If we're going to call a spade, that includes our education systems, and I think that has to be changed. I had this conversation with Joe McHugh. I did try to engage with him, and in fairness, he did engage. We had different viewpoints when he got Minister of Education, that we need to start moving to a different, more inclusive and progressive position on our education.
Thank you very much for that. It's time for a very quick break. Back with more of our guests after these.
Today's show was brought to you by the Seascape Spa at the Cllr Tassie Hotel, offering indulgent treatments and luxurious gifts to suit all pockets. Call and collect available on 9125619.
Many families will face impossible choices this Christmas. Please support the St Vincent de Paul annual appeal. Donate locally at svp.ie or call 0818 176 176.
Give the gift of sport from Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure. See the range of 6-foot Riley folding pool tables. Great for family fun every Christmas. Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure, Main Street, Letterkenny, and online at bmcsports.ie.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council. A recent EPA report estimated that around 1,300 people in Ireland die prematurely each year because of poor air quality, which in rural counties like Donegal is mainly caused by the burning of solid fuels for home heating, particularly over the winter months. To improve air quality and protect our health, you can make a difference by using low-smoke fuels in all areas of Donegal. In the low smoke zone of Letterkenny, the burning of smoky coal is not permitted. Only low smoke coal whose bags carry the wording approved fuel or the Swift 7 logo should be used. To access information on the air quality in Letterkenny, visit epa.ie. Donegal County Council, protecting the environment.
We're waiting for a €19 million Lotto jackpot winner. In the meantime, Lotto players have been winning massive prizes. Since the start of October, they've won €26 million worth of prizes. So get your ticket for Saturday's draw. The National Lottery. It could be you. Play responsibly. Play for fun.
Bank of Ireland's Begin Together programme supports people and community groups across the country with a vision, passion and drive to make things better.
Here at the Irish Traditional Music Archive, we preserve and share the music, song and dance traditions of Ireland. Thanks to Begin Together, we can help artists breathe new life into these art forms.
Tomorrow will be better if we begin together. Bank of Ireland. Begin.
Every home needs that something special. At Max Light Lighting, that's exactly what we can do for your home. High quality, stylish interior lighting and illuminated mirrors at exceptional value. See maxlight.ie or call into Callahan Electrical in Letterkenny Retail Park and see a selection of our lights that will give your home that wow factor.
Planning an extra special get-together? The Silver Tassie's Relaxation to a Tea package is available midweek throughout December, including Christmas afternoon tea for two, plus a relaxing treatment in the Seascape Spa. Inquiries on 91262251.
Some of your comments here. What is free media? It's where the investigations are afraid to, or investigators are afraid to go against the narrative. There are so many examples. It's laughable, from vulture funds to banking to leaks to parties in decimation of the HSE to lack of debate over the COVID treatments or adverse effects. Eventually the information will make it to the mainstream and the media will hang its head in shame, is one view there. It's kind of a little bit ironic, but I think some of the most pointed and accurate sort of questioning of, I don't know, let's say, for instance, guidelines or government comes from programmes like Callan's Kicks rather than a newspaper article or a news, a radio or TV report. Now, we've spoken to people on this programme, and it's something that is a particular concern to me, and I just want to make sure that people feel their voices are being heard, and that's an increase in spiking incidents. Now, I don't know what's going on around the country, but I know here I've spoken to 3 or 4 people that have been directly affected by this. They're out for nights out. Everything's going normal. Sometimes they've had a drink, sometimes they haven't had a drink, and they find at one point of the night that they lose, they lose awareness of their surroundings, or they pass out, or whatever it might be, and in a number of cases then, either almost immediately or a day or two later, a jab mark effectively is spotted on their body. Now, these are being recorded on the Pulse system, but I just wonder, I've had some casual conversations that would make me question whether or not this has been taken on a national level as seriously as it should be. Noeline Blackwel is CEO of the Dublin Rape Crisis Centre and is one of our panel guests today. Noeline, is this something that's coming to your attention a lot? Is it something you have a concern of? Is it something that we should be launching some sort of a national awareness, other than sort of it happening on various different places at different times? Should we be doing something more organised to make people aware that this is going on, if you accept it is?
Yeah, so just, if I can back up just a tiny little bit, and it's not that I'm not answering the question, but spiking is the phenomenon of contaminating somebody's body in some way with a substance without them knowing about it. And spiking, which is a term I hate because it makes it sound like it's something kind of semi-trendy. I prefer to call it contamination or poisoning somebody, has been going on for years, as far as we know, by putting something in somebody's drink that's tasteless, odorless, or whatever. And that can be more alcohol. It can be putting alcohol into somebody's soft drink, putting more alcohol into their drink, or it can be putting some sort of a tasteless, odorless drug. So to the extent that this is already recognized, for instance, if you type spiking into the HSE website, it will come up with things to do if you feel a friend has been a victim of spiking, or if you're concerned about yourself or someone else. So the latest version that we're hearing about is that people are injecting other people. And while I do try to put myself in the shoes of somebody else at some stage and think, why somebody might do something, I find it almost incredible that anyone could go about taking a needle, possibly a dirty needle, and putting something into it in order to inject somebody else, in order to render them, to use a colloquialism, legless, or to render them incapable. And the thing is that I do actually think it's being taken seriously by the Gardaí. The trouble, like so much spiking, is that it is really hard to find who is responsible for it or what it is. And I think, and I'm not demeaning it in any way or downgrading it, but I think as of yet, the Gardaí haven't concluded that this is.
Yes, but Noeline, in my opinion, there's a very good reason for that, okay? And this is why I'm talking about getting out in front of this and awareness, because what happens is someone finds this happens to them, right? And as I say, I know of at least 6 or 7 cases, and I've spoken to at least 3 or 4 of them. They find out a day or 2 later. They go and get blood screens, and the screens come back negative. And then it's, well, how do we pursue this, right? That's what I'm talking about. And if I were a victim of it now, I'm thinking, well, there's no point me going forward. What I'm suggesting is if we have a campaign out there that everyone knows what we're talking about, it could just be flyers in bars and pubs, whatever it might be, right? Then people would say, no, this could be what that is, straight to A&E. Then we get the blood screens. Then we get access to the CCTV. And then we're seen to be taken it seriously. And then the Garda investigations go somewhere.
So that is all possible. But actually, even if you take it before the injection thing, even if people went to the sexual assault treatment unit in Letterkenny or wherever they are, it is very hard to test for an unknown drug that you don't know what is there. So in truth, I think, I absolutely agree with the awareness raising. That is really important, even if for no other reason than to stop people worrying, to make people understand this could be a possibility, and maybe to stop people engaging in any form of spiking, even the more common ones of drink spiking with alcohol or drugs.
If someone wants a single, getting them a triple or something, or mixing the drinks, I get you.
Exactly. And that has been happening for years. And yet again, by the time somebody goes to a hospital, to a sexual assault treatment unit, wherever it is, if they're sick, nobody knows what the thing is. So it's going to be really hard.
Yeah, but if you get someone to A&E quickly, and there's a suspicion at that point that they had been spiked, and I'm talking about I know spiking is spiking, but particularly the injection. We don't know what people are being injected with. If they get to A&E quickly because they're aware of what's happening, well, then there is you can do a screen and it will pick up the majority of those types of drugs. Reverend Adam, as I say, I particularly find it this very, very worrying, and I just want to make sure that the people that are victims of this are feeling that they're being heard.
I think it's very concerning that such things are being done, and I'm flabbergasted that people would think that that's acceptable behaviour. But then, unfortunately, people behave in unfortunate ways. I know we've just come through a period led by the Mothers Union, one of the organisations within our parish, 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, and the 1 in 3 women who can suffer in terms of gender-based violence. So I think a first step, certainly, is to make people aware of it, so that they know where to go to get help and how to get help. I completely recognise I'm a microbiologist originally, so to try and find a drug that you don't know what drug it is would be very difficult.
But just to lean on that experience, because we had one case whereby someone did go to A&E, there were blood screens done, and I think it was synthetic morphine that was picked up. It is possible.
I think it's possible, but you see, you're looking for a needle in a haystack. And most of I'm not familiar with the exact mechanisms, but normally what they do is they test against certain substances. So presumably they tested against that substance, and because that was in the system to be tested, it came up. But then if another drug is there that they're not testing against, well, then it'll come up as negative. But it's not a true negative, because there is something there, but it means it hasn't been detected.
Yeah, okay.
And then you're having a very difficult situation, because the balance of evidence in law, which needs to be there, you have to have a chain of evidence. Then how can they prove that and then follow that up?
Okay, I get you then, but I just hope we don't find ourselves presuming that because cases aren't being followed up, or they're not going anywhere, there's no convictions, that there isn't a problem there that we need to address, because that would be what would worry me. Councillor Micheal, Cholm?
Yeah, look, this is very concerning, and I often think if the same level of violence and acts against against women were happening to male, I think the response would be very, very different from state and state bodies. If we look at what's happening in Scotland, seems to be very much leading out on this at the moment. I think that it's concerning. I think that we need to have a very big focus on the perpetrator more so than the victims, because we tend to victim blame here quite a lot. We tend to say, well, sure, why didn't she not look after herself? Because the majority are women who are the victims here. Why did she not? And why did she do this? And why did she do this? So I think there has to be a big focus on those who are perpetrating. I think if you look at what they're doing in Scotland in terms of searching on the way in, and that's becoming a problem too, where they're stabbing or poisoning, as Noeline rightly said, and taking a very different approach. I think there has to be a huge focus on those on security in the nightclubs. The management, the owners need to be very, very aware that this is happening when on their premises, and not everything is about their self-interest and profit. I think the state has to step in here and start a proper campaign and not a tokenistic campaign within our school systems, within our colleges, because colleges seems to be a place where this is happening, the college community, quite a lot. We've seen how any violence against an individual and the sexual violence will ruin somebody's life and their families forever. I suppose my own background as a youth worker and family support worker, I've seen quite the damage that this has done, and I've often wondered if the roles were reversed, the response would be very, very different.
Indeed.
So we need to focus more so.
Last word to you, Noeline, in 30 seconds, if you don't mind.
Just one other thing, because you're right about all of those actions. The other action is every single person who knows somebody else has this in mind, who sells something or who knows somebody selling it, they should report it.
For sure.
That's
Listen, Noeline Blackwel, CEO of Dublin Rape Crisis Centre, thank you very much. It's been lovely having you on the programme, as it has you, Reverend Adam Pullen, Rector of Stranorlar, Mean Glass and Kiltyvogue, and also you, Councillor Micheal and Easbuig, Independent Councillor. Thank you all of you very much for joining us today. OK, that is where we have to leave that section of the programme. Back with the weather before the news after these.
A voucher for the Cllr Tassie Hotel and Spa, the perfect Christmas gift. The Cllr Tassie Hotel and Spa are sponsors of today's show.
Oh, you shouldn't have. Well, you still got time to get something for me.
At Screwfix, we've got great deals to wrap up 2021. So whether you're a generous gift giver or stocking up ready for your new year jobs, grab yourself some festive savings across heating, power tools, workwear and more. Order on screwfix.ie for click and collect or shop in store. Screwfix, here when you need us. While stocks last, prices valid until 3rd of January 2022. Visit screwfix.ie for T's and C's, delivery charges and restrictions.
Homeland fuel offers, keeping you warm for less. 40 kg premium doubles or easy flame coal, $16.99. Buy 10, get 1 free. Hardwood logs, 2 bags for only €10. Flow gas £25 gas cylinder, only €25.99. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie.
Thinking about your Christmas party? At Luca's Restaurant, we now have Room 2 at Luca's. Beautifully decorated, this spacious function room is perfect for work or family parties. You'll enjoy an amazing choice of freshly cooked food from our special Christmas menu. Let our family look after you this Christmas at Luca's. To book, call 074 911 3404.
Hello there. Golly gosh, it's almost Christmas and we want to help you here at Harvey's Point make it extra special. And what better way than with a Harvey's Point gift card. Available to order direct from the hotel 074 97 22208 or online at harveyspoint.com. It's the gift that keeps on giving all year round. A Harvey's Point gift card.
Free Click and Collect is now available for all your festive favourites at your local Tesco. Get your shopping freshly picked and ready for you to park up and collect outside the store. And don't forget the mince pies. Shop online and book your slot for free today at tesco.ie. Tesco. Every little helps.
Candles, lanterns, Christmas tree, decorations, elf on the shelf and all types of lights.
It's everything you need for Christmas. Experience the magic of Christmas at Cooney's Letterkenny. Our biggest and best ever Christmas shop is open 7 days with unbeatable value on lights, trees and accessories. There's something for everyone this Christmas at Cooney's Letterkenny Retail Park.
Think you need a gift idea for someone special this Christmas? Why not take the Wild Alpaca away? Meet our fluffy, friendly alpacas at Ireland's most northerly point, Malin Head. Make memories of a lifetime amid views of Donegal's stunning coastline. Here on the Wild Atlantic Way. Enjoy a fun day out with lots of photo opportunities, suitable for families, company team groups, couples and friends of all ages. Open all year round. What is your favourite season to visit? Check out how you can book your experience. Wild Alpaca Way on Facebook, vouchers available on request.
And now the Highland Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK. Widespread Christmas shopping this December in Letterkenny. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
Okay, today will be a cold, bright, fresh day with sunny spells and scattered showers of rain or hail. They'll gradually die out through this evening. Highest temperatures 5 to 5 degrees, it says on the screen, with moderate to fresh, gusty west to northwest winds. I think it's 5 to 8. Okay, we'll be back answering your legal questions with Seamus Gunn and, of course, Fionnuala and Michael joining us later. But it's time now to break for the news at 10:10.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning. Sinn Féin has increased its lead over Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil as the most popular party in the country, according to the latest opinion poll. The Ipsos MRBI survey for the Irish Times has the party up 3 points to 35% support, well ahead of the two other parties on 20%. Public satisfaction with governments also down 3 points to 43%. However, 57% believe they've done a good job dealing with the pandemic. Political editor with the Irish Times, Pat Leahy, says Sinn Féin are riding high, but a lot can change before the next general election.
In 2010, in the midst of the financial crisis, the Labour Party was the most popular party in the country at about 33 or so percent in an Irish Times poll. That's not exactly what happened when the country went to the polls less than 12 months later. You know, so like the political process is a fluid and dynamic one.
A Donegal deputy believes proposed UK immigration laws could have major consequences for the tourism sector in Donegal. New proposed restrictions on cross-border travel to Northern Ireland would see non-Irish EU citizens have to apply for online clearance to enter the north. Deputy Pearse Doherty raised the issue with Taoiseach Leo Varadkar in the Dáil. Deputy Doherty says the move would undermine the Good Friday Agreement and asked what action the government is taking to say to the UK that this isn't on.
It's so disgraceful, it's such a shameful measure, it threatens the livelihoods and particularly the tourism sector in my own region of the North West. It placed massive stress on residents here in this state from other EU countries. It undermines the Good Friday Agreement and the Common Travel Area. And Ireland once again forces the prospect of the collateral damage of a Tory government in Westminster that doesn't give a damn about Ireland.
Responding, the Taoiseach said he wasn't surprised by the move.
We're certainly going to communicate to our UK counterparts our concerns and our objections to this measure. Unfortunately, it doesn't come as a huge surprise. If you'll recall, part of the argument in favour of Brexit was about controlling their borders and also about reducing and stopping immigration from the European Union. And this is part of the outworking of that.
Passengers arriving here from Britain are being asked to take an antigen test for 5 consecutive days to tackle the spread of the Omicron variant. The government says anyone who gets a positive result should immediately seek a PCR test and self-isolate. 6 cases of the variant have now been identified in Ireland. Household energy bills are set to be €100 cheaper for the first 2 months of next year. Every household in the country is to benefit as the government looks to ease some of the financial pressure brought on by rising energy prices. The scheme, which will cost around €170 million, is expected to be brought to Cabinet next Tuesday. Political editor with the Irish Examiner, Danny McConnell, says the government was conscious that it would have to do something to help this winter.
The fuel allowance is a very limited scheme and it could only impact on a certain number of people. So they've been developing this plan over a number of weeks, and clearly what they've come to is this conclusion that a flat kind of credit for every private household in the country, as opposed to doing something that's mean tested, is probably the quickest and easiest thing to administer.
An investigation is continuing after a number of holiday home caravans were broken into in North Inishowen. The break-ins happened at some stage between Wednesday and Thursday of this week in the Malin Head area. It's not yet known if anything was stolen. Anyone with information is being urged to contact Gardaí in Buncrana. And problems with public toilets in the Twin Towns are back under the spotlight. Currently, there are no purpose-built facilities in the town centre, and it could be several years before there are. A plan was put forward that business premises provide the service, and Donegal County Council would give them a fee towards the running cost. However, there have been several complaints over the present scheme, with people not knowing where the toilets are and when and if they're open. Local councillor Patrick McGowan says the council needs to go back to the drawing board.
I understand if the business doesn't want to be overwhelmed with bus tours and so on stopping in, but nevertheless, on this case, the council's going to have to go back to the drawing board. It's just the present scheme isn't working. The council said it's going to go back round, try and contact a number of businesses, and I've said we need to begin with upping the money that you're offering a business to provide the facilities.
Weather now. Today will be a cold, bright, fresh day with sunny spells and scattered showers and temperatures of 6 or 7 degrees. That's it for now. We're back with the headlines for you at 11 o'clock. Until then, good morning. The obituary notices for Friday morning, the 10th of December. The death has taken place of Mary O'Reilly, Gregan Gardens, Lanesborough, County Longford, and formerly of Castlebane Road, Letterkenny. Reposing at Glennon's Funeral Home, Ballinallee Road, Longford today from 7 p.m, concluding with prayers at 9 p.m. Mass of the Resurrection tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in St Mary's Church, Lanesborough, interment afterwards in Clonbonny Cemetery. The Mass will be streamed live on the church webcam. Family, flowers only please. House private to family and friends only please. The death has taken place of Brendan Houston, 253 Melmount Road, Victoria Bridge, and formerly of Newton Stewart. Funeral leaving his home tomorrow morning at 10:20 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Oratory, Newton Stewart at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in Gleanock Cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers please to Dementia NI, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. House and funeral strictly private. The death has taken place of Aaron Harkin, 33 Melmount Road, Strabane. Funeral leaving his home tomorrow afternoon at 1 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Melmount at 1 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers please to the Chlr Centre, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has occurred of Hugh Francis McHugh, Lower Brackey, Ardra. His remains are reposing at his late residence with neighbours and close friends welcome. Funeral from there this morning at 10:30, going to the Church of the Holy Family, Ardra, for funeral mass at 11 o'clock, interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Donations, if desired, to Killybegs Community Hospital, care of any family member or Derek McCabe, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of John Harley, Glendowen, Church Hill. His remains are reposing at the Eternal Light Chapel of Rest, Mountain Top, Letterkenny. Funeral from there this morning for Mass at 11 o'clock in St Columkills Church, Glendowen, followed by interment in Garton Cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. The death has occurred in London of Nora Sweeney, ní Paddy O'Gallagher, formerly of Mulladuff. Her remains are reposing at the home of her late parents in Mulladuff. Removal from there today at 1 o'clock, going to her home in Ballydevitt in Donegal Town. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in St Mary's Church, Killymard, with interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The death has taken place of Michael O'Donnell, Shrewve, Greencastle. His remains are reposing at the home of his nephew Danny McCann in Rosebank. Funeral from there this morning at 10:15 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Ballybrack, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. The house is private to family and close friends only, please. And the death has occurred of Mary Gallagher, ní Cllr, Demans Castlefin and formerly of Ballyboan Lifford. Requiem Mass will be celebrated this morning at 11 o'clock in St Mary's Church, Castlefin, interment afterwards in St Mary's Cemetery, Castlefin. The Mass can be viewed live via the parish Facebook page. The house is private to family and close friends. Family, flowers only please, donations in lieu if desired, to Barnesview Ward, St Joseph's Community Hospital, Stranorlar, care of Charles Lynch, Funeral Director, Castledurg. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
And you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Before we get to some of your comments, by the way, here's one for you. Contacted by a listener to the programme who decided to head away for a couple of days, a short break over to Britain, which is fine, of course, flying out of or travelling out of Dublin. Now, this wouldn't apply if you were travelling out of Belfast as such. And they went over and had a lovely couple of days. And then, obviously, now the government requires antigen tests or a PCR test on your return back into Ireland. So they went, and they were actually in Scotland, so they went to try and get an antigen test. You'd imagine it's pretty easy, wouldn't you? And they were told everywhere they went that it would be at least that they were booked up, and it would be at least next week before they could get a PCR antigen test and have the results returned to them, which would allow them to get board a plane and fly into Dublin without getting into trouble. And that's obviously undoable because they were flying back today. And they were only away for a couple of days, a short break, but couldn't in Scotland, I think it might have been Edinburgh, couldn't get an antigen test or a PCR test. And I think they might have found a way of travelling to the airport, back to the hotel. There is a service at the airport, but that's incredibly inconvenient. It is a while you wait service, but there are some reports that those results can be delayed at times and people are missing their flights as well. So that is the impact these in the middle of the night kind of announcements by government can actually have. So is that something that's happened to you? If you are heading away, be careful. If you're returning, if you get a PCR test to travel and you're returning within 72 hours of that test, you're covered, okay? But if you're heading away for, 2, 3 or 4 days and you don't require a test to travel, you will on your return, and just make sure that you can get it on your return. Now, we did chat to, you might remember we did an antigen test here. We did an antigen test here live on air, and the person that helped us with that has a company where you can do it online, so you can do it online, but that does require a little bit of planning. So just be careful if you're heading away to make sure that you do have to, flying into the Republic or boating into the Republic of Ireland, you do have to have that antigen test or that PCR test. And there are some reports in some places of it difficult to get those out foreign or over in Britain at short notice, so just be careful of that. Micheal Cholm, your hatred of Christianity always shines through in all your conversations. You've many good points and do good work, but I can't get past your bitterness to and hatred of religion. Another caller says, our son bullied so much so that we had to remove him from the school. When we did, the board told us to send him back because if we didn't, the situation could not be resolved. In the end, after a long fight, it was resolved. In our opinion, had the priest have engaged with us sooner, the issue would have been resolved sooner. His actual words to us was to send him back, that God was on his side. That is why I agree church and state should be divided. A caller says, why not ask the parents of each schools what they would like for their school to be? If they are happy to change, then change. If not, let them be. That sounds like democracy. I just feel an awful lot of people are talking about this, right? And parents of and guardians and caregivers of children in school, are their voices being heard? And if they're not heard, and if that conversation is not had, or if it's shut down, well then, people get very angry, and justifiably so. Greg, I got my Revolut account hacked yesterday by someone in the Netherlands. Just warn people to be careful and check their accounts. The one thing about Revolut, for most people, the way they use it, you lodge into it. So hopefully that protected you in some way or other. Of course, if it was your main current account and they were able to get into that, they probably would be able to empty whatever was in it. I hope that wasn't the case with your Revolut account. A caller says, what if the values of the state are in direct opposition to the values of the people, parents and children? After all, we are all taxpayers. We all deserve our say. The Reverend on your panel has explained how well our schools are serving anyone and everyone in our schools. Mainstream media forms public opinion, which in turn forms government policy. This means that those who control it can censor out or underreport scandals like Mica, unfit for purpose, family courts, male suicide crises and parental alienation. Well, I think anyone in the mainstream media that thinks they have the power to influence government, or anyone in government that follows mainstream media to set their policies and thinks they're speaking to the public, are behind the times, because that's not how it works. People now think for themselves, and they don't look to the front of a newspaper in this country anyway, and certainly in our part of the world. They don't look to a newspaper or a radio station or a website to get their opinions. Some might, but people think for themselves, people converse with themselves, and there's some big policy changes that have happened in this country this year that were actually at odds to the mainstream media narrative or angle, and more aligned to what was happening actually on social media. And an example of that, for example, the Mica scandal, and I want to congratulate everyone involved. And these are people, by the way, who never were ever on Twitter before. Some of them, lots of people were very experienced. Some never were before. And through their efforts since May to the end of this year so far, Mica redress was the number 2 trending topic on Twitter behind COVID. That is a remarkable achievement. And I believe, I certainly am of the opinion, and I'm open to correction, that although nothing has been achieved until everything is achieved, of course, and the sliding scale has to go where there is no scheme there at all, I think is the general consensus. The progress that has been made wouldn't have been made if it weren't for the people themselves taking control of the system. They couldn't rely on the Irish Times. They couldn't rely on the Irish Independent. Of course, there's support locally, but they couldn't rely on now, some journalists within those papers did brilliant work, by the way, but I'm on about that followed their campaign on social media, particularly on Twitter, got to the point that it could no longer be ignored. So you gave an example, and you're quite right, as it relates to Mica. You couldn't rely on the mainstream media to sort of push that forward. But they've proven that if people are organised enough and passionate enough, you can force either the government or the national media, particularly, I think, to listen to what you have to say. And as I say, everything's not done until all of it's done, and there's still a lot of work to be done there. But I just think now that people in mainstream media, if they still think that there's a cozy relationship with government and they can set the agenda without being challenged, then they don't have their finger on the pulse at all. Hi Greg, what about our own TDs and senators? Went to the golf weekend in County Clare. Phil Hogan had to go. Noel Blaney's still there. They all walked away apart from Phil Hogan. They lost the party whip for a time as well, of course. Hi, Greg. That lady is completely wrong. Ireland does not have a good media. We now have a glorified town criers. They have a huge responsibility, and they've dropped the ball from Leo the Leak to COVID. They've let themselves and the population down. And I did sort of hint towards that story as it relates to Leo Varadkar, but I don't want it to come across like I'm on some sort of a witch hunt or what. But if that story was anywhere else in the world, I think the coverage would have been somewhat different. A caller says it's because RTE is the government. You don't bite the hand that feeds you. Greg, now that Christmas is coming up, what do the panel think about the fact that thousands of Irish children will not fulfil their right to see their mother or father due to no fault of their own or their alienated parent? How do they feel parental alienation should be addressed? I just find the parental alienation, the moniker, people find it difficult to engage with that, if that makes sense. Words and language is very important. It's an incredibly important issue, and many listening will be affected by that, or may be affected by it for the first time over Christmas. It's just the terminology, I don't think it It doesn't resonate as it should. The British don't support Boris Johnson. It's the English who support him, not the Scottish or the Welsh. That comes in from Sen in St Johnson. I understand what you're saying, Sen. Don't disagree with you. But at the end of the day, his party was elected and are in power over the whole of Britain. And the Welsh and the Scottish can huff and puff, but they can't oust him. So you get where I'm coming from. You're on about Boris. What about our own government that broke COVID laws more than once? And look, they're still there. Yeah, and we've talked about that too at the time. It's just this is a big international story that sort of bleeds into our political sphere as well. What's the panel's view on a speed van located at Barnasmore Gap during the week while the area was covered in snow? Is it time a review of these Go Safe vans took place? It was scheduled. Someone was getting paid. They went out there, pulled up. I don't think they factor in the weather. But it didn't make for great optics. What do you think about this? People want me to ask the panel, but I'm interested in your views. Is giving €100 to people for their energy bill the government's answer to the rising cost in energy? Should they not be going straight to the source and stop the rising costs and get the regulator involved? And that was my first instance. You know, these people they insulate themselves from any losses whatsoever. These fuel companies, as soon as the price of producing fuel goes up, instantly they put up their prices. It's us that pays, not they. And when fuel prices begin to go down, well, look how slowly bills start to go down. And now we as a nation, you know, because as the government have reminded us before, but strangely not in this instance, it's taxpayers' money. The taxpayer is giving these electric companies €100 to save us €100. Do you know what I mean? So really what they're doing is they're spreading out the cost of this across the board, across the whole nation. Maybe that's the right way to do it, but it's lining the pockets of the ESB. It's not ESB, sorry, the electricity companies. So it's not an addition to them. Of course, they don't make any more money as such. But it is the money will be paid directly to these companies, and it's us that pay. It's not the government. This is not a big thank you and a big, you know, it is us, all of us that pay for it. I have no problem for it because with it, to be honest with you, because it will help people who are struggling. So that's fine, and I don't mind if that's the way it's done. But let's describe it as what it is. It's not a government gift or anything. It is the government deciding what to do with our money. In this instance, as I say, it's not the worst move they'll make if it helps people. All right, sorry, I've been pontificating a little bit. I wanted to make sure I read some of your comments, but I have delayed the bingo numbers. Here they are, back after these in a break.
It's time for Ncbi Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Friday the 10th of December. You're playing on the yellow sheet. The reference number is S5. It's game number 49. The numbers are 45, 56, 78, 9, 32, 66, 88, 60, 59, and finally 11. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI Bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Planning dream weddings for generations, the multi-award winning Silver Tassie Hotel are proud sponsors of today's show.
Hi, I'm Clara, and I'm a jewellery box ballerina. Yeah, now with work I'm constantly on my feet, literally going in circles. So being in a cold house just wound me up the wrong way. Then the home energy upgrade happened, with grants from SEAI for insulation, heat pumps, you name it, totally transformed the place. Search SEAI Home Energy Upgrade and discover a new world of comfort.
Supported by the Government of Ireland.
Oh, it's fab.
Wet and Wild. Wet and Wild, your local family business, is fully stocked this Christmas with everything you need to enjoy a Donegal winter. There's waterproof clothing and footwear, merino socks, LED lanterns, portable gas stoves, head torches, sleeping bags, thermal wellies and waterproof workwear. Whether you're in the market for a kayak, a warm waterproof winter jacket or a €10 stocking filler, Wet and Wild is your one-stop shop to ensure your family and you enjoy a warm Donegal Christmas.
Well, Davy, brilliant that you weren't in work today. We had some crack. It was Peter's last shift, so we all went out for lunch. Thanks for staying away. The lads are delighted. Chat to you soon. Mind yourself.
No one will thank you for turning up to work or anything else when you're sick. Stay at home and get a test to protect yourself and others from COVID-19. From the HSE, for us all.
€2,000. €2,000. Yes, €2,000 only at iMotors. Get your 221 order in today and be in with a chance to win €2,000. Yes, €2,000. Come in, order now before Christmas and be in with a chance to win.
Looking for the perfect stocking filler this Christmas? You'll be spoiled for choice with a full-side gift card from fashion to food and everything in between. With over 50 stores to choose from, take the stress out of Christmas and give the gift of choice. Foilside, we have it all wrapped up. Purchase your gift card on level 3 or online at foilside.co.uk.
Treat your pets this Christmas at Gary's Pet World, Letterkenny. You will find a large selection of gifts, toys and Christmas selection boxes, together with delicious after-dinner treats for all your cats and dogs, with great value on pet food and accessories. A trip to Gary's Pet World is a must this Christmas. Call in and see for yourself or log on to petworld.ie.
Your one-stop shop this Christmas. The Silvertassie Hotel and Seascape Spa gift vouchers are available online at silvertassiehotel.com or at the hotel reception. Call and collect available daily on 07491 25619.
It's not just that Sarah can't rely on the rains to come this year. It's not just that the only water left could cost her life. It's not just that she has seen all her crops destroyed and she is struggling to feed her little boy. Like thousands of parents living in regions devastated by drought, Sarah is living in fear, and it's not just. This Christmas, your love can make all the difference. Visit trocra.org or call 1850 408 408. Trocra, until love conquers fear.
And you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Onto it we welcome Seamus Gunn of McLaughlin Gunn and Co, Letterkenny and Ramalton, taking all your legal questions, of course. Good morning to you, Seamus.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
It's great to have you with us. I'm good, thank you.
Nice to be here, yeah.
Yeah, before we get into the questions, and there's still an opportunity for people to text in, I just want to run a story past you. And it's the story that former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows could become the latest official from former President Donald Trump's administration to face criminal contempt charges. This after his attorney said Tuesday he would not cooperate with a committee. Now, committee leaders said the panel will pursue contempt charges against Meadows as it has for 2 others. So what's the background to this? What is the committee looking into? Because I'm reading lots of various stories, but it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere to me.
I think you might remember, well, I think it's worth highlighting, and I think it will gain a lot more traction, this story, as we go into the new year, because there's been a number of meetings of the Select Committee, and they're looking into, obviously, the storming of the White House at Capitol Hill on the 6th of January. And that's only 6th of January past. Let's keep that in mind. But we quickly maybe overlook the fact that there's 5 deaths resulting from that at that particular as a result of that incident. Now, the cause has yet to be determined, but that is a fact. And there was a person actually shot during it. So following on from that, though, Greg, and this is even more interesting, that a number of the attenders on the scene of the police who actually responded, 4 of them have taken their own lives within months afterwards. So it has had a serious impact, not to mention the responsibility then and the allegations now that will follow. And so why this is remarkable is that Meadows was his former chief of staff. So the net would seem to be tightening, and he has now released a book in which he's supposed to have disclosed certain information about conversations leading up to the Capitol Hill incident on the 6th of January. So the Select Committee, headed by Nancy Pelosi, obviously, they subpoenaed him to appear before them. He actually agreed to appear, and then he didn't turn up. And how he reacted, which was quite extraordinary, was that he instigated an action or a lawsuit citing Nancy Pelosi for basically seeking information which they weren't entitled to, and to stop it. In the meantime, Trump's in the background trying to, I would say, influence his top advisors, looking to give this a wide berth. But these subpoenas are going to force their hand, and it looks like he's going to face potential criminal charge of contempt. A court below, interesting, last month, a federal court already has ruled on this to the effect that they are entitled to this type of information, the memorandums, the texts, the emails, and you can imagine there must have been a lot of them flying around at that particular time. So that case, of course, is now going to be appealed to another district court of appeal in Columbia. But whenever a ruling is given on that, they've said already that this privilege which is being claimed, and that's the net point, Trump will be claiming privilege because he was president at the time.
Yeah.
Whether that executive power can be extended to post-presidential, that's the kernel of the issue here. And the interesting point is that the first ruling of it by a district judge has said, well, he can assert that, but the President Biden can waive that privilege. So that's going to be the nub of it, and there's going to be many a legal challenge. But I would say that it is going to gain traction. It deserves to. There are people who has to be accountable for this.
Yeah.
And watching it on the world stage at the time, it was absolutely horrific.
It was indeed, but it's so political, and regardless of your anyone's political views, it feels like a big motivational factor to this is, well, you could feel that it's to make sure that Donald Trump doesn't become president again or whatever. I mean, can this ever come to a satisfactory conclusion, I wonder? Because, as I say, you mentioned Nancy Pelosi there. It feels and always will feel incredibly political. And then there are those who have a certain set of views, and these aren't the judiciary, of course. And then you have another group that would be very supportive of Trump that have a different set of views. And it doesn't feel like law's being dealt with here. It feels like politics is being dealt with. That's me as just looking, as a casual observer, very casual observer.
Yeah, well, that's a reasonable observation. But for the law to take its course, the investigation has to take place in order to obtain evidence. If they're going to proffer any charge against anyone, everybody's innocent here. But there is an allegation out there that this riot, there was incitement to riot and that somebody caused it. And that during that period, there is documents that might assist in that probe. Now, regardless of politics, and this is also interesting that the vice chair, I believe, is a Republican. I think it's Liz Cheney's the vice chair of the select committee. So you have Nancy Pelosi, Democrat, and you have Liz Cheney, vice chair, all going down the same route on this. So they're ad idem on this. I would be just interested in the justice of it for the people who have lost their lives and the cause of that.
But just in relation
to get that information, and parking, of course, there's a lot of politics.
Yeah.
But technically speaking, there has been a judge to rule on a very, very controversial point as to whether a president has privilege post-presidency.
Yeah,
that's a very important legal point.
Yeah,
and that will probably be teased out. And this is where politics will play maybe even a further part, and wrongly so. That could be teased out all the way up to the Supreme Court. And if you recall, the Supreme Court, before Mr. Trump left office, the Supreme Court may be seen to be majority Republican.
Now,
so ultimately, that could play out.
But even if all that was resolved, and even if Donald Trump stood on a plinth, right, and says, said directly, look, let's go to Capitol Hill, let's show them, that what we think. And then people turn up, and then people get violent and people die. Like, even if that were the case and that were established, does that leave Trump responsible for that? I mean, he might call for people to gather in a certain area, but it doesn't necessarily. Would it be easy to prove then that because something happened, because that call was made, that he would be, or those around him would be ultimately responsible?
Well, in my view, he would be responsible for the natural consequences of his actions and his speeches. And if they resulted in a charge, or if that resulted in inciting people to riot, and as a result of that riot, obviously there has been injuries and there have been deaths, there have been fatalities. If that's a natural consequence of that, I think that in that scenario, you can be held to account and should be held to account. Now, how it will play out in the political scene if it goes all the way to the Supreme Court, it's going to carry on. But they're not for letting it go in the select committee, and that's for sure. And therefore, I see it. This story, it's out there. It's garnering some traction, but it will gain a lot more, I think, in the new year, especially when Trump continues to try to circle the wagons. But I think the net is closing.
Interesting stuff. Seamus, we have to take a very quick break. We'll be back with questions from our listeners in just 2 minutes.
The Logues live at the Silver Tassie Hotel Christmas Party Night, Saturday 11th of December, 91256192 to inquire. The Silver Tassie are sponsors of today's show.
Highland Radio are dishing out the dosh again. And adding a massive €5,000 to the pot.
That means on every primetime show across December 23rd, some lucky listener will win €1,000 cash money.
And still be in with a chance to win a car.
Christmas comes early to Highland Radio. Santa's got his ticket. Be sure you get yours. Click highlandradio.com.
Ooh.
The Donegal Texel sheep breeders will hold their annual White Diamond Sale of 75 in-lamb ewes and 10 ewe lambs in Reformart this Friday, December 10th at 7 p.m. Online bidding via the Mart Bids app. That's this Friday at Reformart.
What do you give someone who has everything? Everything, because that's what you get with an Aldi gift card. Choose from delicious Christmas food and drink, or even our legendary Aldi special buys. Values range from €10 to €500. It's perfect for loved ones, and it shows them just how gifted you are. Purchase in-store or buy online. Aldi, make Christmas amazing for everyone. Terms apply. Visit aldi.ie/gift cards for details.
Fabulous fabrics in stock for Christmas at Fabric World Maydown. Thousands of ready-made and made-to-measure curtains available at amazing prices, on trend and in stock. Now official stockist for Laura Ashley. Call in for a quotation to Fabric World Dairy. Great Euro rates.
Candles, lanterns, Christmas tree, decorations, elf on the shelf and all types of lights. It's everything you need for Christmas. Experience the magic of Christmas at Cooney's Letterkenny. Our biggest and best ever Christmas shop is open 7 days with unbeatable value on lights, trees and accessories. There's something for everyone this Christmas at Cooney's Letterkenny Retail Park.
You'll find all the best toys at Foy's Ballybuffet. There's great value on all the latest toys, including ride-ons, bikes and bear go-karts, with new deliveries arriving every week. Shop online 24/7 at toysatfoys.com. Foy's can ship to your door with free delivery on all orders over €50. Shop local and find all your toys at Foy's Ballybuffet or online at toysatfoys.com.
Christmas is covered at Letterkenny Shopping Centre. Free parking, shopping and Santa under one roof. Letterkenny Shopping Centre, bringing you the time at...
The time's 10:37. Now, a listener says, I recently had reason to be in court. I witnessed a case where a person was caught for driving at excessive speed. The person in question was not in court, but their legal representation was made on their behalf to the judge that he was wealthy and that he was willing to pay a substantial sum of money to the court charities. The person, because of their wealth, walked off with a fine and kept his or her licence. How is justice? How is this justice in our court, and what lessons are learnt from this? You know, and this comes in from time to time that you can evade the worst of punishment if you have deep pockets. If you have resources.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it for 1 minute. The caller has indicated that there was a charge preferred before the court, and a judge has actually presided over it. So we like to acknowledge democracy. So we hand it over to the judge to hear it. The person has been held to account for their actions, in this case, driving over the speed limit. They mentioned that a fine was imposed. That would be normal enough. And they have put up a plea in mitigation and suggested that some charitable cause could benefit. Now, is that not good for society in general? And in particular, is that person who allegedly committed the offence, and in this case, it seemed like they went before the court and were fined for it, haven't they been properly held to account for their actions? So I can't see where the problem is with that. It's up to, remember, the onerous responsibility for any defence lawyer is to put up the best case they can, given the circumstances of the individual for whom they're acting. In this case, if somebody can make a contribution, courts, I believe rightly so, take it on board in that there's some charity is going to actually gain.
But if what you're saying makes perfect sense. But if then someone who is in court for the exact same charges but doesn't have the resources to offer such a donation, they could be punished further, themselves, simply because they don't have access to money to make that charitable donation. Is that fair?
Not necessarily, right? Like in that situation, you might be looking at a different line of a plea. If somebody is in poor circumstances, that could also be used in a plea of mitigation for them to keep a fine down or keep it to a minimal or to have it reduced or eliminated altogether.
Yeah.
So it depends on what way you have to cut the cloth. It depends on the circumstances of the case. It depends on the background of the individual before the court. You have actually adequately described both sides of the spectrum there, but there might be different approaches taken, but you could end up with the same result. And the point is that the process works. That's the best we have. There's many countries where there have none. So I know we have to.
I'm glad I asked that question.
Once you leave it in the hands of the presiding judge or the court to deal with, and it's before the court, then it's up to the court to adjudicate, make a decision, impose a fine or a quit or whatever it seems fit.
Yeah. Okay. A couple of wills sort of related questions, because of course we get a lot of those in. How do I apply to retrieve my house deeds? Sorry, this is separate to that. How do I apply to retrieve my house deed from the solicitor's office where they've been stored for nearly 40 years? Is there a fee payable for storage on top of any solicitor's fees?
Well, I think that is properly addressed to whichever firm or office that have the deeds. If they retain them for 40 years, they're providing a very good service. I would have to say that straight off. It's more difficult sometimes if you go to some financial institutions to retrieve deeds, but if they know where they are, they can check out whether a charge is applicable. There might be a screening or handling fee, which would be normal for the checking them out and taking them up, and maybe indexing them for the individual for collection. That's standard. If you're talking about an annual fee for storage, all I can say is that it's not something that I would or our firm would practice. But I mean, that's certainly up to the terms and conditions that would apply with the particular firm that the individual or the caller has engaged.
Yeah.
But usually there'd be a fee for taking them up for them if they've been stored, for indexing them, for taking them out of storage, etc., and for providing them for the caller. And that's usually, again, would be a nominal fee.
Yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable either.
But I do believe that it is, and you have to mark it. It does seem to be a terrific service, virtually free if they've been retained in safekeeping for 40 years.
Is it better to hand over an estate, land and house, to my son before passing, or is it better to make a will?
That would be tax driven, right? And it is interesting as to it will depend entirely on the circumstances of the individual. That'll be the donee, the person who is going to set to inherit or to receive the benefit or the transfer during the lifetime. What is important to remember is this, that at the moment, and there hasn't been any changes in the last year, the threshold for the son or daughter, that's the direct lineal descendant, at the moment is set at a level of €335,000 in respect of value. So that's the value you can take as a gift or take it under the will without paying any tax. And that's quite important, because after that, the tax kicks in at 33%. So if you inherit something worth 500,000, it's 165,000 euros worth to be taxed at 33%. So you have to bear that in mind. If it's a situation where there's farming and the farm has been handed over, there's such a thing as agricultural relief that would and probably would apply. So it would be a tip for the individual maybe to obtain some tax planning, depending on the value that we're talking about. Also, it also depends on the circumstances of the person who wants to hand it over, whether it suits them to retain control all their entire life and therefore leave it in the will, or whether it suits them now to divest themselves of that asset. Maybe they're of that age and they want to pass on the responsibility. So you'd want to look at all those features, but it would be, I think, a tip to look at the tax implications going forward. But in either, it's the same tax threshold, whether it's a transfer or a will. The same tax threshold applies. And if you're a nephew or a niece or a brother or sister, it reduces vastly, and that's we have to be extremely careful. Down to 32,500, and you pay a tax over that. And if you're a stranger, it's around about 16, and you pay a tax above that. But a tax consultant might be able to assist as to what would be best, but depends on the circumstances of the people.
All right. Last one on wills just for now. Does an executor of a will decide where a person can be buried? There was no wishes in this deceased's will, but as friends we often spoke about it. Yet despite telling the executor this, he carried on doing his own thing.
That's difficult. It's emotive. It's hard to get it right. If you're asking me technically, I would always maybe encourage people to let someone know in the family as to what their preference is in relation to their burial arrangements. If that hasn't happened or been communicated to the executor, that's certainly it's a pity. But if an executor has to make a call on it, it is within their power to do so. Now, and I know that people may not like that, but that is the reality unless it is noted in the instructions. It doesn't have to be in the will itself, but it could be in the instructions, whenever they're given it, as to what their preference is in relation to their funeral arrangements and their burial thereafter. I would be inclined, if I was advising an executor and they're informed by the family that this was a deceased wish, and that was sort of agreed universally among the family, that I'd be more inclined to go with that than to go on a solo run.
Crashed my car.
But the tip would be to let the whenever they're given their instructions, to let whomever is making their will know what that is.
All right. I crashed my car. The insurance company said I had to bring it into their approved repairer. They fixed it and made a mess of it. I got an independent assessor to look at it, and it's now going to cost €3,000 to fix it at another garage. But the insurance company want to bring it back to the approved repairer that made a mess of it originally. Do I have to do what the insurance company says in this instance?
That's well, it could be damned if they do and damned if they don't in a certain manner here, because unfortunately they have gone ahead initially with the recommendation. That's the claim they're making, and they're not happy with the work that's been done, and now they've been sent back to have it remedied. The difficulty they have is if they now try to go somewhere else, that one may be quite reluctant to start on doing someone else's work. And the insurance company, if they're saying, well, that's who we're going to be paying, they will then insist that the return, so that they make good whatever was done wrong that they're claiming in the first instance, or whatever was poor quality. So they may not like it, but I would have approached it differently from the outset. If they had a reservation about this, what I think they could have done is that they could have got their own independent assessor at the start. They could have agreed a value then with the insurance representative's assessor as to the value of the damage and the repair figure that was necessary. And then the insurance company would have paid them out, and they would have been responsible to carry out their own repairs. That would give them the independence, gives them the choice then as to go wherever they wish to carry out the repairs, and whoever carries them out for them will therefore be responsible in contract. The problem we have here is that they've already gone nearly 2/3 of the way down the road. They've been referred obviously to an insurer's repairer, and they've gone ahead with that and carried out that work. So they're now left in the dilemma that even if they do try to bring in a third party, that the insurer will be saying, well, we have to continue with, because if the work is not up to quality, it's a matter for the repairer, the initial repairer, to make good that. So I think that
the insurance company is protecting its interest. It's saying, well, why would we pay for the same job again, go back to who messed it up and get them to fix it?
Yeah, well, you see, you could be looking at an insurance company saying to that repairer, if what they're saying is correct, that, well, look, if the job wasn't right, well, then they have a breach of contract allegation against them. So I can understand where the insurance company is coming from. I think that the caller could have approached it differently from the outset. If they wanted to engage their own repairer, that could certainly have been done by using an independent assessment and agreeing a figure for repairs and taking it from there. They're too far, I think, down this road now to turn back. That'll be my call on it.
Right, two more we just have time for. My son is in residential care under High Court orders. He's there now 3 years. Can I now take him home when his time is up? I only get to see him once a month.
Well, without having sight of the court order, this is a very technical area. The Child Care Act, it's around the start of 1990-91, came in, which set up the Child and Family Agency, which we know as TUSLA. So TUSLA, that's the department that you're going to be looking to. That's the agency that's going to be responsible. And there will be in place, from the question as it's phrased, there'll be a court order, and there will be probably a review procedure within that court order. There can be different types of child care orders and care orders. There can be temporary ones. There can be ones where there's an emergency situation, or there can be permanent ones. A permanent one would be some type of circumstance where the individual then reaches 18 and in fact then lapses. So they should engage with the agency TUSLA, and obviously I haven't got access to the court order to simply state that it after 3 years it just lapses. I would doubt whether it will be that simple. I think there will be terms and conditions, and there will be review procedures built into it. So liaise with TUSLA and check out the court order, and I would have anticipated by now that they've had legal advice on it, because in such cases there is always a legal representation on both sides, and in some cases there's a separate litigant for the actual infant or for the child itself, which would be a guardian ad litem, and that would be a lawyer appointed to protect the interests of the child. So you could have three parties to it. So I would anticipate that is likely, and they should return and engage with TUSLA on it.
All right, finally back to where we began. Read the charitable donations. I have seen several cases where the defendant avoided the stigma of having a conviction recorded against him or her. This is the important issue. Donate to charity and your record is clear. Pay a fine and you have a conviction recorded against you. The system, they say, is wrong and should be abolished.
Yeah, well, that's common, isn't it? And it's great to hear, and it's good to hear them coming in, and long may that continue. But it won't detract from my view that democracy wins out, and that when you hand it over to the presiding judge in the court system, then you have to accept the judgment. If you don't, you've also got the democratic right to appeal, and it's up to a lawyer to put the best case forward they can.
All right, listen, thanks as always. Seamus Gunn of McLaughlin Gunn and Company, with offices in Letterkenny and Ramelton, and online, Seamus.
Yes, DonegalSolicitors.ie, Greg, yeah. And
fingers crossed.
It's very simple, gun.ie.
Okay. Thanks, Seamus, as always. Chat to you soon. I appreciate it greatly. Okay, it is the 9 till noon show. Back with more after these.
Hassle-free shopping from the comfort of your home. Gift vouchers for the Silvertassie Hotel and Seascape Spa are available online at silvertassiehotel.com. Proud sponsors of today's show.
Give the gift of sport from Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure, Main Street, Letterkenny. New O'Neill's Donegal jersey for 2022. Out now on bmcsports.ie. The perfect gift for Donegal fans this Christmas.
At Chrysler Supermarket, our shelves are stocked full of Christmas goodies, and we're now taking orders for Christmas. Make this Christmas dinner special by ordering your Noon's turkey and delicious ham in advance. All orders by the 20th of December in time for Christmas collection. Gift vouchers available in store. Merry Christmas from all at Chrysler Supermarket.
Last Saturday, one Lotto player won €1 million. €1 million! Because with the Lotto jackpot capped, smaller prizes are, well, bigger. So with bigger prizes and €19 million still up for grabs, make sure to pick up your Lotto ticket today. The National Lottery. It could be you. Play responsibly. Play for fun.
Hake and Dublin Bay prawn chowder. Grilled trout with pak choy. This Christmas, add a fresh idea to any table with Irish seafood, like organic smoked salmon or fresh Irish oysters. For starters or for mains, weekday dishes or a weekend treat. Irish seafood is available in your local fishmonger or supermarket. It's easy to prepare and it adds variety to your festive meals. Enjoy the best that our fishermen bring ashore. And for great Irish seafood recipes, visit boardbia.ie/fish.
Make your next menswear choice at Watson Menswear Letterkenny. From suits to casual wear, there's big names like Rimassimo, Superdry, Penguin and Tommy Bow. If you're getting married, call in for an appointment and get fitted in style. That's Watson Menswear, open 7 days a week on Main Street in Letterkenny, or online at watsonmenswear.com, or follow on social media for more details on offers and new arrivals. Christmas Club now open.
Boots is bringing joy this Christmas with better than half-price offers on star gifts. This week, get incredible Boots exclusive savings on blank canvas gift sets, iconic bronze It's a Vibe set, and the Be Bold Super Glow Kit. Get them while you can. Boots, bags of joy. Selected stores, offer ends 24th December. See boots.ie for details.
The Seascape Spa at the Cllr Tassie Hotel, offering a wide range of beauty treatments, pampering packages and luxurious products to get you glowing for the festive season. Follow Seascape Spa Cllr Tassie Hotel on Facebook for offers.
Get your favourite gear delivered to your door from Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure. Browse the full range online to get gifts for all the family, from gym goddess leggings to 6-sock gift boxes. Choose from the latest collection of runners and leisure wear with free next day nationwide delivery on orders over €85. Shop online at michaelmurphysports.ie.
Ireland is leaving diesel behind, and Kelly's Toyota is leading the way with our incredible range of self-charging hybrid electric cars. We've amazing offers, including contributions and trade-in boosters. And with 46 years of experience here in Donegal, you can trust us to help you on your electric journey. You'll never take a wrong turn with Toyota, Ireland's best-selling car brand. Visit Kelly's Toyota Mount Charles or Letterkenny today. Toyota, built for a better world. Terms and conditions apply.
'Twas time to enjoy the festive mood. The table was set with glorious Aldi food. Like Nicholas de Montbard champagne was $24.99, now $16.99. And from the 10th of December, specially selected mini beef Wellingtons, just $3.99. Chicken and mushroom mini vol au vents, just $2.99. And flavoured cocktail sausage rolls, just $1.89. Aldi, make Christmas amazing for everyone. Get the facts, be drink aware, visit drinkaware.ie.
It's amazing what you'll find for Christmas at Watson Hire in Letterkenny. For a DIYer or someone in the building or motor trade, there's guaranteed to be something to suit. Hand and power tools from all the top names at great prices. Work clothing, work boots and much more. Present ideas from as little as €5, with gift vouchers also available. Visit Watson Hire this Christmas at Kiltoy, Letterkenny, or at watsonhire.ie. Open 7 days a week with free parking at the door.
Tommy Fleming brings his 30th anniversary tour to the Millennium Forum Dairy on Friday 25th of February. Tommy with his full band will perform all his favourites from the past 30 years. Book in now on millenniumforum.co.uk or from the box office 04871 264455. Tommy Fleming's 30th anniversary tour at the Millennium Forum, February 25th.
And now the Highland weather, brought to you by Shop LK. An accumulation of Christmas shoppers will descend on Letterkenny this December. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
Today be a cold, bright, fresh day with sunny spells and scattered showers of rain or hail. They'll gradually die out through this evening. Temperatures 5 to 7 degrees with moderate to fresh gusty west to northwest winds tonight. It's going to start off cold. Lowest temperatures 0 to 3 degrees. Some frost there for a time. Outbreaks of rain and drizzle will move eastwards across the region overnight with southerly winds freshening. And of course then, because of the cloud cover, temperatures rising. Right, ahead of the news. Hi, I'm involved with Buncrana Heart Football Club and we are having a coffee morning in O'Flaherty's Bar, Buncrana today at 10:30 to 3 p.m. So you can go along and take part in that if you wish. I want to mention to you a collie dog that's missing. It's black and white and it's a very important family pet. It's missing in the Cranford area since Wednesday at around about 12 noon. The family think that she got frightened and ran off. Her name is Fly. And if you've spotted this collie dog, black and white, it's missing from the Cranford area, but they can shift, so it could have gone somewhere else. The dog's name is Fly, and we've got a contact number, and I know they're very keen to get their pet back. So if you have any information at all, please get in touch with us. You might have, as I say, it's missing from the Cranford area, but who's to say it might not have made up quite a bit of distance. So please, if you can help that family, I know you would make their weekend. Religion has no place in schools, believes the caller. It's divisive and comes from human prehistory when nobody knew what was going on, etc. Today, even children know much more about the natural order than any of our founders of any religion. Hi, Greg. My wife had a friend from England staying at the weekend around Carrigan's, and their wife had her out and about in the car. She could not believe how bad the roads were. We're at Carrigan, St Johnstone and the road to Newton. Not even a white line on the road or a cat's eye, they say. Thank you. And another, the €100 credit for electricity. How does it work if you're on prepay power? Well, we're going to have to get clarification on that for you, because it's, again, and it always comes from our listeners, a very interesting question. Okay, you're tuned to your number one local radio station. This is Highland Radio, broadcasting across the Northwest online and around on air and around the world online through your app, your smart speaker and what have you. It's 11 o'clock. Micheal and Fionnuala are on the way, but first we have to endure the latest news with Catherine Gaffney. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning, Greg. Sinn Féin has increased its lead over Fine Gael, and Fianna Fáil is the most popular party in the country, according to the latest opinion poll. The Ipsos MRBI survey for the Irish Times has the party up 3 points to 35% support, well ahead of the two other parties on 20%. A Donegal deputy believes proposed UK immigration laws could have major consequences for the tourism sector in Donegal. New proposed restrictions on cross-border travel to Northern Ireland would see non-Irish EU citizens have to apply for online clearance to enter the north. Passengers arriving here from Britain are being asked to take an antigen test for 5 consecutive days to tackle the spread of the Omicron variant. The government says anyone who gets a positive result should immediately seek a PCR test and self-isolate. Household energy bills are set to be €100 cheaper for the first 2 months of next year. Every household in the country is to benefit as the government looks to ease some of the financial pressure brought on by rising energy prices. The CEO of the Dublin Rape Crisis Centre says she finds recent reports of injection spiking extremely worrying. Investigations are continuing into a number of alleged instances in Donegal. Warnings have been issued and Gardaí continue to appeal to victims to come forward. Letterkenny University Hospital is the most overcrowded nationwide today, with 50 people waiting for a bed there this morning. 8 were on trolleys in its ED, while a further 42 were waiting on wards. Sligo University Hospital had 40 people waiting, making the combined total for the Northwest 90. And an investigation is continuing after a number of holiday home caravans were broken into in North Inishowen. The break-ins happened at some stage between Wednesday and Thursday of this week in the Mallinhead area. That's it for now. We're back with more at 12 noon.
And I'm only joking, Catherine. It's an absolute pleasure.
As always.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Catherine, we'll be back with you with more news at 12, as I think she just mentioned there. We'll be back with more in the 9 till noon show after the break. But we could give you one more opportunity to win our fantastic prize we've got running in association with our friends at the Silver Tassie Hotel and Seascape Spa. And again, thank you for their support throughout the course of the week. It's great to bring you the programme in association with the Silver Tassie. So before the break, we're going to leave the lines open until 11:30, right, and then close it. So you have about 27 minutes, and then the lines will be closed, and then we'll announce the winner. On this week's show, with thanks to, as I mentioned, the Silver Tassie Hotel and Seascape Spa, we're giving you the chance to win their relaxation to a tea package. You and a friend will be treated to Christmas afternoon tea with Prosecco in the festive decorated oak beam foyer at the Silver Tassie Hotel, followed by a relaxing treatment in the Seascape Spa. Now, you can choose between a distressed back and scalp massage, which is beautiful and tailored to your needs to eliminate the tensions that you might find built up. You might not realise how tense your back and shoulders are, but these people, they'll be able to tell you, and then you'll be able to make adjustments, hopefully. You can also relax with a facial experience. That's a scalp massage. Will cleanse, exfoliate and moisturise your skin too. That's going to leave you relaxed and glowing for the Christmas season. Now, to be with the chance of winning this fantastic prize, which will be announced at just after 11:30, answer the following question. According to a popular Christmas song, what's roasting on an open fire? Is it A, turkey, or B, chestnuts? Is it A, turkey, or B, chestnuts? Now text hi plus your answer, name and address to 53131 from the Republic, or if you're in Northern Ireland and you want to take part, it's 84555. So it's hi plus your answer, name and address in the Republic to 53131, or from Northern Ireland 84555. Texts cost 30 cent or the sterling equivalent plus your operator's charge. We'll announce a winner to that competition, as I say, in the next hour, so stay tuned for that. And also, you can contact the Silver Tassie Hotel, I'm sure, directly if that relaxation to a tea package sounds like something you would like to treat yourself or someone you love to.
Today's show was brought to you by the Seascape Spa at the Silver Tassie Hotel, offering indulgent treatments and luxurious gifts to suit all pockets. Call and collect available on 9125619.
Homeland fuel offers, keeping you warm for less. 20 kg Eco Bright, buy 5 bags for €50. Softwood logs, 3 bags for €10. 1 kg fire logs, 4 for €5. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie.
Give the gift of travel this Christmas with a voucher from Atlantic Travel in Letterkenny. Valid for 5 years, vouchers can be used for sun holidays, honeymoons or city breaks. They can also go towards cruises, ski and camping holidays, Disney holidays or any travel service that Atlantic offer. Call 9126193 or pop into Atlantic Travel on Oliver Plunkett Road, Letterkenny.
There's something about this time of year that makes you want to be near all the things that remind you of your favourite Christmas. When you get that warm and fuzzy feeling, you want to be near the people you love and the things you love. So where better to get that feeling than Letterkenny Shopping Centre? There's free parking, extended opening hours and great gifts for everyone. Add in a visit to Santa and you'll have Christmas all wrapped up. Letterkenny Shopping Centre, where Christmas is home.
The Groom's Room is now open and taking bookings for all you grooms getting married. Contact us at Evolve Clothing, Letterkenny Retail Park.
From the record. Don't miss Peter Maxwell Davies' The Lighthouse, a fun, creepy and wholly original modern musical ghost story. Irish National Opera's new all-star production, conducted by Elaine Kelly and featuring Gavin Ring, Ben McAteer and John Malloy, is on in Greenan Theatre, Letterkenny for one night only on Saturday the 11th of December. See nationalopera.ie, funded by the Arts Council.
Hi folks, it's Daniel and Micheal here. We have been driving the Hyundai Tucson for the past 5 years.
Yes, and we really love it. And we're so looking forward to stepping into the all-new Tucson in the new year.
If you're thinking about a new car for the new year, then you just have to test drive the all-new Hyundai Tucson at Divers Hyundai.
It looks just amazing.
The Hyundai Tucson,
Ireland's best-selling car
over the past 5 years.
Your local dealer is Divers Hyundai, Canal Road, Letterkenny. Call 9122 600.
With such low prices, you've really got to hand it to Lidl, winner of this year's IQFDA Retailer of the Year. Get 6 deluxe mince pies for only $2.49. Celebrate with our Prosecco Spumante or Prosecco Superiore, only $12.99 each. And there's your favourite Foxes and McVitie's biscuit tins for just $2.99. Lidl, more for everyone this Christmas. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
Christmas afternoon tea at the Silver Tassie Hotel, Letterkenny. Served Monday to Friday from 2 to 5 p.m. in the festively decorated oak beam foyer. Only €35 for 2 people. The perfect treat this December.
At Londis, customers love being in my presence. Sure, I'm always up to snow good, but I'm never rude, Ulf. As well as high elf esteem, I've got some tremendous offers. Like Tato Crisp 6-pack, any 2 for €3. 1.75 to 2 litre 7-Up Club and Pepsi Max, any 2 for €3. Santa Helena wine, only $6.99. At Londis, we know what locals want because we're local like you. Offers end 12th of December in participating stores while stocks last. Please enjoy, drink responsibly. Visit drinkaware.ie.
Okay, it's 8 minutes past 11 on a Friday morning as we head into the afternoon and as we head into the weekend, and I'm delighted to welcome back into studio Fionnuala Rabbit. Hiya, Fionnuala.
Hello,
It's
how
great
are
to
you?
have you with us, and it's also great to have Michael Leddy, writer and blogger. Hiya, Michael, how are you keeping?
Hello, Greg. Hello, Fionnuala. Keeping good at my end.
You're looking well.
Thank you very much. Same back at you.
Yeah, the glasses are a great an addition to your face.
They really suit you.
Well, that's a compliment.
Thank you.
You're not good with compliments, no?
I like the way you phrased it. I'm not laughing in horror. I'm laughing in... That's a good phrasing. I like it.
Oh, right. Yes, of course.
I like it.
They are on your face. Right. Okay, I'm trying to see if there's any crossover here. You know, you watch very, very different things. I'll start with you, Michael, because I started with Fionnuala twice, the last twice, I believe. And you've got Girls... Is it 5 Ever or 4 Ever on Peacock?
Yes, Girls 5 Ever.
Yeah.
So
I can't find it. Is it on the new... I couldn't find it on the Sky because I did look for it after you said it to me last week when Peacock came.
Yes, I'm presuming it is because it's listed on...
He's watching it. He's not watching it on Peacock.
No,
he
I
just
know,
thinks
I've
it's
seen-
on Peacock.
He's seen it before. No, he mentioned it before.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I've
Mike.
seen it before.
You mentioned it before that you'd seen
Yeah.
it.
I saw this back at the start of the year. No, it's listed on Just Watch, and I can actually confirm that in a moment. But for assuming that
brilliant.
it is
Maybe it's
there-
coming to it then. That's brilliant.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. This is a Tina Fey sitcom, 8 half-hour episodes. Sarah Bareilles is in it for anyone who's a fan of her music. And it's the story of a girl band from 20 years ago who had a one-hit wonder and disbanded. And there was 5 of them, and there were Girls 5 Ever. 20 years later, their one-hit wonder is sampled by a rap artist, and suddenly they're relevant again, and so they decide to get the band back together and follow their dreams, and it's that story.
It's hard to believe that hasn't been done before because it sounds like it's very relatable, obviously, because
It's happened in real life so many times.
Exactly, and you know, and I presume you know, like the Spice Girls, the big block for them getting
Yes,
back together is Posh's Resistance and all that kind of stuff,
Yes.
so they can play to that.
Play to it big time, and because it's Tina Fey is one of the writers. She didn't create it, but she's a producer, writer, and she appears in it as Dolly Parton in a fantasy sequence. But yeah, it taps into the whole girl band thing of the 1990s and exactly the Spice Girls. So you meet these women; they're now in their 40s. They've moved on with their lives, but they get back together basically. And Renee Elise Goldsberry, who people will know from, isn't it Hamilton? I'm not into music in a big way. She's an amazing singer. They're all amazing singers. There's music in this. The songs are brilliant. Sarah Bareilles wrote a couple of them, and they are magnificent. The first 8 episodes build to a sort of a climax, but the door is open for obviously season 2, which is confirmed. I love Tina Fey. Loved 30 Rock. Couldn't get
Is
into
Tina
the
Fey
other
out
one.
of Sex and the City? Is she?
No.
What's she been in?
She's in 30 Rock and she's
Oh, all right, okay. Yeah.
Saturday
And
Night
the
Live.
other one that she did, and I couldn't get into it, was the Kimmy, what was it, Inside?
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
That's it. Could not get past the first episode of that.
No, I couldn't either. And yet I know people who absolutely quote it, think it's the greatest thing they've ever seen. Loads of breakout stars came out of it, and yet I couldn't
Same
get
as
into
you,
it myself at all.
Yeah.
And so I went back rewatching 30 Rock, which is still gold. So when this started, I went into it kind of a bit nervously, but it turns out that it's great. Love the music, love the comedy. I say Sarah Bareilles, Busy Phillips, I love her, big fan of her from way back in things like Dawson's Creek and Freaks and Geeks and various other shows through the last 20 years. This is funny, easy watch, great songs in every episode. Predictable trajectory, of course, because it's like you know what's going to happen.
There's only a limited amount of directions you can go with it, presumably. So
And
what
it's
are you
a
giving it out of
feel-good
10?
show. I give it a good solid 8 because I really loved it.
Well, you're looking perpetually for a half-hour comedy.
I know, and I still haven't managed to find one, so
Well,
I'm
there you
definitely
are.
going to check
Girls
that out. That
5
sounds
Ever.
like a nice Christmas. If it is,
It would,
if
yeah.
it's coming in, because that's
Yeah.
yeah, I'm delighted because I did look for it after you'd said it to me when Peacock just landed.
Yes.
But they didn't add any extra shows. They kind of landed with what they had, and so far they haven't added too many.
By coincidence, I mentioned Sex in Sex and the City. You've got And Just Like That, and
It's the new Sex in the City. It started last night.
okay, so it's not Sex. It's I keep saying Sex in the City. It's Sex and the City.
Sex and the City.
And okay,
yeah, it's
right.
not about them having sex in New York. It's about their lives and their relationship with the city. When they did it originally, it was supposed to be that you had the 4 women and were the main characters, and that New York was also a character in it because it was such a big thing that they were in New York. But this is the reboot now that they've done.
And how long before we have a Girls 5 Ever, which focuses on the stars of a very popular sitcom that stopped doing that sitcom and then 20 years later...
That would be, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I can answer you there because I can tell you that Beverly Hills 90210, two of the stars played themselves in a sitcom that was kind of what happens 20 years after you hit TV.
So it's been done.
All
right, tell us about this new incarnation then, Fionnuala.
Oh, well, it basically is the same thing again, if you ask me. But anyways, the Sex and the City, as anybody knows, was the massive TV program in the 90s. Huge, everybody was mad about it. I mean, I remember going with friends of mine into a nightclub in town in Galway City when I lived there for the finale. The finale was an hour-long...
Why was it so popular? Was it because people aspired to it or because it was relatable?
There was so many different things in it. I think there was one, people found the characters very relatable because you had these 4 different women, so women really got into it. To be honest, I think at the time it kind of broke the mould in that, to my knowledge, and I'm open to there wasn't too many really big TV and well-produced and high-produced that was essentially... about women, for women,
and
that was
speaking like women speak to some extent,
and very much,
not across the board.
All the men in it were really kind of periphery characters.
Yeah,
anybody that was a regular in it, bar the kind of gay best friend that sort of popped up in it. Other than that, my kind of feeling of it was that it was like one of those first shows that kind of really focused on women of a certain age. Yeah. And then there was a whole thing. So you had that, then you had the characters, and then you had the clothes and everything.
Well, that's it. And it was seen, they were fashion icons. They weren't,
100%.
during its first run, they weren't, they weren't playing themselves up or anything. You go, I saw that in Carrie, I'd love that kind of thing. People were aspiring to.
Yeah, it was huge like that and that type of thing. And I think it was just this kind of a strange lifestyle. To be honest, I wasn't that big into it when it came out. Well, the 90s, I was kind of busy anyways. But
weren't we all?
But then, but they were it was kind of so big that you couldn't avoid it. So even if you weren't really watching it, you couldn't avoid it. They then finished up. Then they did 2 movies. The first movie got great reviews. The second movie kind of petered a little bit, and people weren't as excited about it. But people are very excited with this return now of them back together. They're all back together except for Samantha. In the premise of this, Samantha is living in London, and they've had a bit of a row. So I sat down to kind of watch it just to sort of see what it was. I'd love to get people who were really big into it to kind of ring into the show or whatever and let us know what they thought. People that really loved it the last time round. As I said, I was kind of jumped in and out of it more than anything else, and I wasn't very happy with this. Now, in the sense, the clothes were still fabulous and that was all beautiful. It does kind of take off where the story left, but 20 years later. So now all their kids are grown up. So now that not only are they dealing with, their general lives, are also dealing with aging. They're dealing with, kind of their place in the world,
relevance
and their relevance, particularly as women, their relevance in the world when you hit a certain age. They also hit some kind of life issues. I don't want to do any spoilers or anything like that for anybody that is kind of savouring it to watch the 2 hours, because they actually did the first and second episode together. So there's lots of kind of life stuff.
So
that's
it
kind of
sounds
coming
like
into
it's
it as
perfect. It almost writes itself. They're not trying to be of the same era. It's probably relatable to those who grew up watching it, but
it's gone very Me Too.
Yeah.
And very PC.
Yeah.
And there's just kind of bits of it. I think it kind of takes the edge off some of the characters. The characters were very, to my mind when I watched it, they were very kind of edgy, and I didn't get that feeling off any of them now. Kind of as I was watching it, they all just seem to be sort of tamed down a bit.
Right. Okay.
And I think you need to keep going with it. Obviously, it's only the start of it, but it didn't start.
It didn't
in
wow
my mind.
You, yeah.
No, the storylines and stuff like that had a lot of things that would keep you going back to the next one, but there was no kind of a big oomph.
Was it funny
that it landed? No, but then it never was kind of laugh out loud funny. It was more kind of just the conversation was fun. It was more the conversation.
Yeah. Clever
it
humor
was more,
almost,
exactly.
Where humor exists. Yeah.
Rather than that you'd sort of laugh out loud. It was that kind of more entertaining, funny or whatever. And I just think it missed the mark slightly. But I'd really like to hear from people.
So what can you give 2 episodes out of 10 then?
I'd only give it like about a 6.
All right, so Fionnuala wants to know what you think. WhatsApp, if you've watched it, 086 60 25,000, or any observations on the original, or you can comment if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube. You didn't watch Sex and the City first time round, did you?
I watched only the first series, and I liked that first series, that first 12 half hours.
Yes.
But somehow it fell through the cracks, and I never went back for season 2, but it wasn't a choice.
Yeah.
'Cause I quite liked it.
Like, let me see, because Fionnuala there mentioned the Sex and the City film, because there's always, I don't know if there's a desire from the public, or is it that they think but there's always the thing, when something ends, people want to film.
Yeah.
Don't they? Like, so I was just thinking here, we've got Sex and the City, 3 others that spring to mind that sort of my era, 24, people, we want to film X-Files, I think, Prison Break.
Luther, we were talking about last week, he said he won't come back and do the series, but he would do a film.
Come and do a film. Have we got examples of where that's worked, where a TV show finished, they made a film? Because we watched this over such a long period of time, and then you try and ram it into an hour and a half to 2.5 hours. Are there
Mixed
any
results? Like Star Trek, The Next Generation had a bad film, and then a good film, and then a bad film.
But they did a series of films, didn't they?
Yeah, the original series did, and
what's the pro? I can't think of the name. Nathan Fillion was in. When you say
Firefly,
they did a great movie that kind of finished off. They got cancelled, and then
Breaking Bad. Sorry, that's another one.
That's supposed to be a movie. Yeah,
it wasn't great. You know, it really, because everyone wants, because loyal fans want everything in it.
Yeah,
you know.
Yes.
But the reality is, and Breaking Bad would be a good example. They try and write in what people want to see, but it doesn't fit into the storyline because people may have died or in prison or whatever it might be.
Yeah, it just and
I just think they always kind of miss the mark, and then maybe in some way tarnish the great memory and reputation of the original. But anyway, any great examples out there?
Nothing jumps out as being a brilliant one.
Of a short-lived, there was a very short-lived comedy series called Police Squad, which became the Naked Gun films.
Yeah, well,
they were brilliant.
Yeah, but you could argue that the Naked Gun films just became long formats of Police Squad.
Yeah,
you know, and it's a comedy, and I know exactly what you're saying, and I love that. And Leslie Nielsen.
He was excellent.
And an excellent straight actor, apparently. That only sort of went to comedy relatively.
Yeah.
And
he pops up in 70s, like he pops up in anyone that has the Columbo box set will see him playing.
Everybody. Well,
definitely.
We are at a ratio of Columbo box sets in this county. I'd say 1 in 158,000. I would say so. A
More
rough ratio.
popular than I meet people that have the box set. It's even inside the.
And what are they watching it on?
Video.
They're video players.
We were talking. Pardon me.
What are they watching it on? Katie has. Well, hers is gone. She doesn't know where it went.
Hers is gone.
They're in such demand.
There's such demand. Somebody stole hers. That's how popular it is.
Yeah, if she ever wants to come on and launch an appeal, we'll assist her. Right, okay. Any films made from a TV series that actually were excellent or didn't disappoint? 086 60 25,000 or text or WhatsApp. So we go to you again before the break. Yes. What do you want to do? Pluto TV, Star Trek Discovery. It's so bloody random. I'm going to mention that one.
Yeah, the really. I'm not even sure.
This is Janeway, isn't it?
No.
What?
No, this is a new.
New one.
Well, it's old now, but it's new.
New.
It's the latest series.
So
which one was Janeway in?
Voyager.
Oh, that's very disappointing. Okay.
Voyager. So
my
close.
favorite.
So
my
close.
favorite.
Good.
There is a woman captain in this, so you were really close.
And she
Michael.
pops up in quite a lot of
Her name
stuff now,
is
Janeway.
Michael Burnham, yes. This is season 4, right? And I'm not even sure I'm going to watch it because I didn't like season 3. But it's important to chat about it because there was a bit of an outcry because the show was taken off Netflix, and it was like there was a big outcry a couple weeks ago. What happened is Pluto TV, for anyone that has the platform with Pluto, and you can get it on Now TV and the Roku services. You can also find it via Amazon, Apple TV Plus, Android. It's out there. That's the only place in Ireland where you can watch new Star Trek Discovery every week, Friday nights. A lot of people may not know that. I'm sure dedicated fans will know it, but there was a big outcry. Certainly in my house, where I share a house, one of the lads was very annoyed because Netflix doesn't have Star Trek Discovery anymore.
Is it good?
Well, I've given up on Star Trek Discovery. I don't.
First
really
and
liked
second,
season
first
3.
and second series was really good.
Oh,
Third-
Discovery.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we had this conversation and
Yes.
you didn't like the direction it went then.
The third series, it kind of went a bit about face,
I never
and then
finished
it got
No.
cancelled. Yeah, I did. I can't leave things undone. It'll be bothering me.
2 episodes left.
Who drive me insane. So I did finish it, but I didn't know. I just realized I have that Roku TV because my lovely birthday present television just keeps giving.
Was that your half birthday? Because you do half birthdays too.
No,
don't you?
my half birthday was last month.
Did you get half birthday presents?
No, no, I only buy myself half birthday presents.
What did you get yourself?
Oh, I just always have something nice for dinner, or you know what I love, which I did buy myself, is lollipops.
That's so cool.
You should always celebrate your half birthdays. It's
Are
good.
they
It's
called
good that you're
lollipops
still-
or ice pops? though?
Oh no,
Oh,
actual
are they
actual lollipops, not ice pops. Ice pops.
Right, so lollipops. So
Yeah,
you mean
actual-
like sweeties on the end of a stick? Lovely.
Like Bojack.
Yeah.
Bojack.
But do you not spend your time trying to just get the
I
lollipop
don't even
off the
celebrate
stick
my
anyway?
birthday.
No.
I can't even bother with my birthday. It comes and goes. I couldn't care less. You
Oh,
celebrate.
stop. You should always celebrate your birthday. You should always
Well,
celebrate
you tell
your
us your
birthday.
birthday and we'll make a deal of it. What do you think of, because it's like your worlds and all that kind of stuff, and there's going to be a bit of a to-in and a fro-in, but I can't remember who's buying out the James Bond franchise, or it's an acquisition of some other. I think it might be Amazon that are taking over the owners of James Bond, the James Bond for Eon, is it, or something like that? Anyway,
yeah.
And they want to create a world, okay, with split off characters, maybe 006 to whatever it might be, crossovers and all that kind of stuff. But the people that have always owned the rights and own 50% of them say, no, we want to keep this once every couple of years, big blockbuster. Fionnuala, do you have a view? Would you like to see a James Bond world similar to that, but without the shields and the capes of Marvel?
Like the Marvels. No.
What?
No, I don't think so. I think what's the beauty of James Bond and what keeps people going to it is the purity of it and the kind of history of it. I mean, an awful lot of people.
Nostalgia, though.
I know, but the nostalgia brings in the bucks. I mean, a lot of people go and see a James Bond movie regardless of whether or not they've heard it's good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah, it's an event.
It's, you know what I mean? It's one of those things that you're kind of like a year in advance. Think about how much hype there was over this one, with it being Daniel Craig's last one. Think of all of the discussions, the documentaries. Geez, you couldn't switch on a television channel there for, you know, when the launch was on, with all of the documentaries and everything that was going on about it. It's just so iconic. I think if it had started off in some form that had been like a comic book, like something that was a bit more serial. But it's not. I mean, they're solid books, and I know obviously they've moved from the books, to a certain extent.
But wouldn't it be interesting to see sort of like an American-based film, maybe in the Bourne mold, and there's not that big a difference now, with a 005 character or equivalent in America, and then down the line, like them joining forces and having it as a...
No.
I think what you'd end up with, I mean, you already have that in the like you have Bourne, so there you go. That's a similar type of a character. And also, I think what you'd end up in, if you've ever seen the movie The Kingsman, you'd end up in The Kingsman and The Kingsman 2. Have you ever seen them?
Yeah, I watched the first one some time ago.
Yeah, and the second one then brings in the Americans into it,
right?
And because there's obviously other groups in it. And you're just kind of like I enjoyed it. You know, it's by no means highbrow. It's by no means whatever. It's just you kind of sit down and you do really enjoy it. There's a lot of action and stuff in it. But to me, it kind of, by the second one, it like a silliness came into it. That, you know what I mean? Even though I know it was never supposed to be a comedy as such. It was supposed to be a little bit of a...
pinned it down as that, okay.
I didn't think so. I think it was supposed to be a little bit, obviously, of a parody on these type of things, but not in a kind of laugh out loud sort of way. But if you watch the second one, it just...
So a James Bond world, it's a no from you, and we go to the judges in somewhere in Letterkenny.
0 points from me
somewhere
also.
in Letterkenny in the 1980s.
In a cave.
My black and white TV.
I feel this is Zoom is when we speak to you. It also functions as a time machine.
Time travel, yeah.
Except for your wonderful glasses.
My take, I think a franchise wouldn't work because another spy inside that James Bond world is
Did you
just
say it wouldn't work or would work?
No, wouldn't work because it's just Bourne or...
But they've always been teasing us 00 others, haven't they?
But it's still, John, it's Bond that we want to see. It's Bond we want to see. The others are, it's everything Fionnuala said, I completely agree with. And it's Bond.
Again, listeners, 086 60 25,000. Get my back here on this one. Or call Caroline on 07491 25,000. Right, we're going to hear much more from Micheal and Fionnuala after we take a short break. By the way, the lines on our brilliant Silver Tassie competition are closed. We're going to be announcing a winner to that competition after we run the names through the computer after a short while.
Today's show is brought to you by the Seascape Spa at the Silver Tassie Hotel, offering indulgent treatments and luxurious gifts to suit all pockets. Call and collect available on 9125619.
This Christmas, nothing's stopping us with exclusive Tesco Club Card deals, like Pringles Sour Cream and Onion and Salt and Vinegar Crisps 200 gram, both were €2.50, now €1.50 each. And for the perfect present, the Tesco Mobile Samsung Galaxy A03s was $159.99, now $99.99 with a club card. Shop in-store or online. Tesco. Every little helps. Customer quotas apply, subject to availability. Samsung offer ends 14th of December. T's and C's apply.
On this week's Business Matters, I'll be joined by the founder and CEO of Cllr, Troy Armour. So join me, Kieran O'Donnell, for Business Matters on Sunday evening after the 6 o'clock news. The Business Matters podcast is also available to download at highlandradio.com.
Business Matters in association with Letterkenny IT's Faculty of Business. Applications are now open for the highly regarded Masters in Leadership and Innovation in the public sector. Also a Masters in Governance, Compliance and Data Protection in Financial Services. And a certificate in Online Dispute Management. Visit lyit.ie for more information.
It's flu season, and children are twice as likely as adults to catch the flu, which can sometimes cause serious illness. That's why all children aged 2 to 17 can get their free nasal spray flu vaccine, a safe and effective way to protect them, and the rest of your family too. So make an appointment with your GP or pharmacist. Visit hsc.ie/flu for more information. From the HSC.
Open up your weekend with the Irish Independent on Saturday. With thousands of us testing positive for COVID-19 every day, how do we deal with the after effects? We bring you an expert guide on how adults and children can boost their health and get their strength back. Cathal Dennehy explores Roy Keane's reinvention as TV's most colourful pundit. Plus there's 5,000 Volta HD rental codes to watch the movie Deadly Cuts to give away. Find your escape this weekend with the Irish Independent on Saturday. Up close and independent. T's and C's apply.
Most people say that Donegal is the coolest place on the planet, but up here we know that sometimes it can be the coldest. Charles Brunner & Sons Ballybuffet is the one-stop shop for all your heating needs. We have a huge range of multi-fuel and wood pellet stoves and ranges, spare parts for all major stove and range brands, plumbing and bathroom ware, all at exceptional prices. So visit our showrooms where our friendly and experienced team will be ready to help you. Charles Brunner & Sons Ballybuffet and the stovestore.ie, where you can always do a good deal better.
Christmas is covered at Letterkenny Shopping Centre. Free parking, shopping and Santa under one roof. Letterkenny Shopping Centre, bringing you the time at...
The time's 11:32. Listener says, has any of the entertainment panel seen Mayor of Easttown? Halfway through the series. 'Tis only 7 episodes, slow first episode, but definitely gets intriguing. Well, we all are huge fans of that, particularly I think of Kate Winslet, who won Best Actor. So that's a unanimous yes from all of us, isn't it?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, I wasn't overly impressed with some of the scripting towards the end. I wasn't, but I love the performance.
Yeah, we teased that out before, and you're right. But I also started watching the 3rd season of Succession. Neither of the two of you have watched Succession. It
Not
is,
yet.
I would argue, one of the best programs made in recent times. It's getting a bit samey in terms of how they shoot it and the script and stuff for me, but still it's intriguing. It's great. Succession is excellent. I would give that full marks, but you haven't watched it, so
no, I don't. It's like when The Wire came out. Everyone said to me, "Oh, you got to watch The Wire. You got to watch The Wire."
Did you ever watch The Wire?
No. But you know the way when somebody keeps saying it to you, and then eventually you're like,
it does grate you down. But that's precisely what happened with the Marvel films with me, you see.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden,
I know. And tired of listening about them.
In 5 years' time.
Greg?
Well, you for starters, then more latterly Fionnuala. Lee at home, he watched them all in order, and he was coming in after everyone going, oh, I've just watched Spider-Man 23, and then I'll have to watch. Then after that, I'll have to watch. Yeah, you know what I mean. At that point, I zoned out.
New Spider-Man movie coming soon.
I said, you know what? I'm going to start coming into your room and standing in front of the telly and telling you what I've watched, and see if you like that. You know.
Can I tell Fionnuala about Girls 5 Ever? I've done a bit of research in the break.
Oh, please do. Okay. Love research. So I looked on entertainment.ie and joe.ie, and apparently it comes in Ireland on the Tuesday the 21st of December. So almost breaking news. Almost, except it was broken everywhere else first.
That's for Fionnuala specifically.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
So I'm going to look out for it now, because that's my Christmas. That's my Christmas sorted.
The new season of Yellowhammer is up and running, and I know Fionnuala is a fan. Have they got the right one? Yellowhammer?
No.
Yellowstone? No, because
Yellowstone is the thing, and there's a new thing called Yellow Jackets, which is just started on Sky, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Give us a call, because it must be something similar to what you've discussed before. Yellowhammer doesn't even ring a bell.
No, not with me either now. There is this Yellow Jackets, and I know it's won a few awards, and I think there's a second series in America, but we're just getting the first series now, which I will be on my list for next week. I'm dying to see it. I've downloaded it.
It's all very exciting. Right, okay. Now, shall we go to you next, Fionnuala? I think we're doing it sort of turnaround.
Yeah.
Do you want to do us an update on Fake Famous? Or
no, did I do?
It's still there?
No, I forgot to take it off.
Okay.
I got a new computer and I updated my list, and then when I went to go to it this morning at 2 minutes to 11, I realised the new updated list did not transfer over to my new computer.
Okay, well then you pick one, because I think we did.
Well, then I think
already.
Landscapers is the new Sky Atlantic blockbuster, and it stars Olivia Colman and David, I'm going to say Thewlis, but I could totally be saying that wrong. Both fantastic English actors, and this is really intriguing. I definitely recommend people to watch it. I really enjoyed it. I would be giving this like an 8 or 9. It kind of was odd and strange. It's one of those things where truth is stranger than fiction. This is based around, now, as it keeps saying, it's based on a true story. Mm-hmm. So you'd imagine quite a lot of it is actual, factual, and not just filled in, conversations and stuff. But it's based on a couple, the Edwards. They're this couple that were living in England, left England and moved to France. So they're living in France, and all of a sudden, when they run out of money, they ring the police to report the fact that they had buried the wife's parents in their back garden. True story.
Okay.
The police.
Is this connected to them to running out of money?
Yes, they had. They were kind of up against nowhere to go. What could they do? They were like, in that situation. They were getting older. I'd say they were probably in their 50s,
yes.
Late 50s, early 60s, or whatever by the time they were caught. That's
okay.
Judging by the pictures that I've seen now, not that I've checked their ages specifically. And this is based on what actually happened and their interviews with the police, but it's also done then kind of in a dramatic way. The wife appears to have been kind of nearly a Walter Mitty type character. So is it a documentary
or a dramatisation?
It's a dramatisation,
okay.
Because you have Olivia Colman and you have David Thewlis.
Right.
There is little bits of it where occasionally at the start and halfway through it kind of breaks the barrier, as in it goes back, you can see the directors and you can see the different people in it, but it's also, it goes into her kind of like I said, she seems to be kind of like a Walter Mitty type character. This lady, as I said, according to the thing, she had very kind of a difficult and troubled background. She's very enjoys westerns and movies, so it kind of shoots over to different scenes in her life, but it's played out as if then she's in a western and that kind of thing. She talks about herself. At the heart of it, you have this horrific thing that happened, and then you kind of look at the couple and you're like, it's actually quite very nice, sort of a little love story nearly that's in the middle. I have to say, I really enjoyed it.
And you've watched it all?
It's 4 episodes.
Okay.
And once I started watching it, I just couldn't.
It's like a long film in the end.
I just couldn't. And I just couldn't leave it. The acting is superb. I mean, everybody knows Olivia Colman from The Crown and different things like that, and she's getting a lot of big starring roles.
She's very good now. Yeah. Always was, but particularly I think she's
say
coming
David
into her own.
Thewlis and I am terrible because I haven't written down any of the other stuff that he's in. But as soon as you see him or even hear his voice,
I have to Google him now.
Yeah, as soon it's Thewlis, and as soon as you see him or even hear his voice, you're going to be like, all right, 100%. And then the acting is just outstanding in it. There's some fantastic other characters with the police and different things like that are in it. There is, as I said, it kind of breaks the barrier as such. Where you see like the directors, or you see kind of between the scenes and different things like that.
And are the actors to the remaining character?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
Out of 10, it has to be. It has to be close to full marks.
Oh my God! I definitely would be giving it an 8 or a 9. I really enjoyed it.
I'm going to write 9 down.
When I started off, I was going to tell people they should save it for Christmas, but then it got a little bit kind of into the nitty gritty of the actual murder, and I was like, maybe no. It's a little bit. But if you were just going on kind of the acting and the different things like that, and you would definitely say to yourself, "Oh my God, this is really enjoyable." Except obviously it's based in real life, and there is a double murder.
Right, okay, but sure, look, that's the way it is with
but
TV programs. They cover sensitive matters. Right, okay, before we move on, I just want to say, again, thanks to the Silver Tassie Hotel and Spa, Seascape Spa, for their support this week. We're about to give away their Relaxation to a Tea package. It's a beautiful Christmas afternoon tea with Prosecco in it. No, separate? I don't know. In their beautiful, festively decorated oak beam foyer at the Silver Tassie Hotel. You can have a de-stress back and scalp massage or a facial experience. The question was, according to a popular Christmas song, what is roasting on an open fire? Was it A, turkey, or B, chestnuts? Do you want to guess the answer, Michael?
I would say chestnuts.
You are 100% right. It was according to the famous song. Hi, answer is B, chestnuts, and the winner is... Grania McKeown in Fintown in County Donegal. Grania, congratulations.
I love it. I love your applause.
It's muted, but it's there nonetheless.
Oh,
okay. Well done to
Lucky
you,
Grania,
and well done to everybody. And again, thanks to our friends at the Silver Tassie. So, landscapers from Fionnuala on Sky Atlantic, 9 out of 10. The new Sex and the City called And Just Like That, 2 episodes in, so far 6 out of 10. Girls 5 Ever is on Peacock, or coming to Peacock, as we've heard from Michael Leddy, and it's a comedy, half-hour comedy over 7 or 8 episodes, did you say?
8.
And incidentally, he gives it an 8 out of 10. And we want to talk now about, I don't, you do, Spider-Man No Way Home in the cinema.
Yeah, that's the big
Have you
film.
seen it yet?
It's next Wednesday.
Exciting.
Yes, tickets.
He's great. The characters, I have to say, it's the best incarnation of Spider-Man. I really like the character.
He's a really good guy. Yeah, he's really good at the part. This is the big film. It sold out really quickly around the world. We got our tickets. A group of us, my Dungeons and Dragons group, we got a group of tickets.
Both of you did.
That was so mean. I was just saying I'd love to meet them. What?
They are real people.
What are Dungeons and Dragons
exist. Yeah. I've explained this to you, Greg. I've also said this to my doctors. These people,
as they say in
my friends
Frozen,
are real people.
Let it go. Tell us about the film.
So this is a film that people are looking forward to for one big reason. The big mystery, the big question mark over this movie is, because it's a multi-universe, it's spanning different universes, will we see the previous 2 Spider-Men? Will we see the Spider-Man from the when Tobey Maguire was doing in those 3 movies, and will we see the Andrew Garfield?
Can that happen?
Yes.
It can work, yeah?
Yeah, because we know for a fact that we're seeing one of the main villains from the first run of movies, that's Dr. Octopus. That actor is returning to play that character. And we know that we're seeing a villain from the Garfield movies, that actor and that character returning. They've confirmed that, they've promoted that, but to date they have not confirmed.
When you talk about different universes, I thought that kind of meant space and Earth and stuff. Are you on about different alternative universes? So in other words,
the multiverse is more of a timeline. It's more of an idea that there's lots of different timelines and we're all just simply separated by it.
which was teased out in that one with
Loki.
No, before
There's
that.
a really good cartoon you need to watch, Spider-Man: The Multiverse.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that movie. Spider-Man: The Multiverse was awesome.
Doctor Strange. The Doctor Strange film did a bit of that multiverse stuff, didn't
he? He's
in this.
He's in this as well.
Yeah, he's in the trailer for this, and they've dealt with it in an animated series which is canon. There's a 9.5-hour episodes called What If that's just come out there 3-4 months ago, and it deals with the multiverse. So, for instance, for the first episode, it was what if it wasn't Steve Rogers that was Captain America, but it was Agent Carter, and she became the super soldier in that episode. And it was a very, very, very good episode, and the series continued. The reason it can work is that in another universe, it would be a slightly different Peter Parker, in another universe. And if you saw the animated movie that Fionnuala just referred to, you would have seen that in one universe, there's a pig who is Spider-Man. He's actually called, no joke, he's called Spider-Ham. And that's a great character, and he's a real Marvel character. And I love those comics. They're hilarious.
So if then I thought they were rebooting these characters, right?
That's what was done at the time, but retroactively, Kevin Feige and the team are making it so that you can have it sort of in canon and say that even though it was a reboot, and you're absolutely correct, and even though it was a reboot, we can now say that, that actually is another universe and it's part of...
Right.
So it can cross over. At least for this one Spider-Man film, we know that we'll definitely see Dr. Octopus.
And
as he appeared.
Are you wetting yourself with excitement at the idea of multiple Spider-Men? Like,
if that happens on screen while I'm
scream.
in the cinema, I will not be the only one, Greg. I will just lose my hat. Let's put it that way in polite.
Yeah.
Okay, well, don't wear your Highland hat.
It seems to be a direction that that Marvel are going now. That the new, what's their Marvel 5-6 that they're calling it now when they move into the movies again, is going to be about this multiverse.
Yes.
And which will mean that nobody ever...
Well, no one characters are ever dead then.
Well, because like
because you could have a famous billionaire character who reappears in the next film because he's crossed over from another universe into the one that's currently set.
Or you could have two, like you could end up with like two Hulks. You could have two anybody. You know what I mean? You can have two of everything, two Thors, two everything.
And the main thing, I think,
when you think about it, what it does to the actual possibilities of the movies is just it expands it.
What it's opening the door for as well is when this Spider-Man has all died down in a couple of years, we'll see the X-Men again. Maybe with some of the same actors again, like Halle Berry has said.
X-Men is part of the X-Men. The
X-Men was a Marvel,
They're Marvel as well, but they're
What's their
Marvel
timeline?
comics. But their timeline's not connected to the Avengers whatsoever.
But do they recognize each other exist?
Well, they were
only in
produced by
Deadpool.
Fox.
Only in Deadpool.
Only in Deadpool. He does occasionally mention both, but only in Deadpool.
Well, only the ones that can afford. They get the
Yes,
rights.
only the ones that can afford.
That's it. You never
The obscure
get the thing.
ones. All right.
They kind of they went a bit crazy with
I can't believe you're
With the
just
ones you're talking about.
You know, like you're
Geez, my
there
mind is
saying
completely
saying Spider-Ham is excellent,
It's
right?
so funny.
No,
It was
I
funny.
know, but you're saying it's fine, and that's perfectly acceptable. And then you sort of say that they went a bit crazy with.
Well, in the X-Men, they did this going back from the future.
Was Spider-Ham in it? Would that have made you?
Well, I would have at least been. Spider-Ham was very funny. He was like one of those. It was definitely like a Disney character that you'd see in that. What's that basketball movie where the cartoons play basketball? He was like something out of one of those kind of movies.
Then
Space Jam?
Yes.
Did the Simpsons borrow Spider-Pig then from Spider-Ham?
Well, Spider-Pig is older than Spider-Ham.
Is he?
Spider-Pig.
Well,
Yeah,
Spider-Ham
does
goes
whatever
back to
a
the
Spider-Pig
80s.
does.
Yeah.
Back to the 80s. He's an 80s comic
is?
book.
Spider-Ham. Well, then they must have nicked it then.
Yep.
All right.
It predates, it goes back to the 80s. Originally, he was a backup No, sorry. Originally, he was his own series, and then he became a backup character. I've read them.
And does Spider-Ham, does he emit webs?
Yeah,
out of his hoofs?
He's Spider-Man in a different universe, and all the characters.
Can he speak?
If you want to be serious about it,
very
it's just
sarcastic.
They evolved.
That's all spider pigs are.
Yeah. So he's in a pig, and like his girlfriend is Mary Jane Water Buffalo.
Right, okay, I'm going to have to take a break because I have a suspicion
Your mind is fried.
that my mind is fried. Yeah, I suspect that. Right, okay, a couple of comments before we do. We'll have been rewatching Watchmen, the series, Greg. Surprisingly relevant for the times we live in, pre-Black Lives Matter, pre-pandemic. Amazing cinematography, sound and set design came out in 2019. I think its makers were spot on as to where we are now in society, pitting people against each other. Starsky and Hutch was a TV show and the movie, then I sort of liked it, could have been better. Yeah, I think a lot of time passed between the two, didn't they? If we're on about the more... But that's a very good suggestion, actually. I think that probably is a reasonable example, though it wasn't broadly well received, Starsky and Hutch. The new series Sex and the City is out. Would this be something yourself or Fionnuala would have watched back in the day? Me, no. Because I put that in with Ally McBeal, and there's a few other shows that
Ally
I just...
McBeal, who was so good.
I just didn't feel...
I have it all on DVD.
I was watching stuff like Have I Got News for You and The Word, and, you know, that's...
So was I.
Yeah, but the 90s
Euro
for me,
trash.
that's what it was. I was like, all cool and Euro trash.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, well, my hair fell out. That was probably the start of it. All right, we'll be back with more on the 9-to-Noon show.
He's crying on. Sorry.
I know, I'm too upset to even comment on it.
After this break.
A voucher for the Cllr Tassie Hotel and Spa, the perfect Christmas gift. The Cllr Tassie Hotel and Spa are sponsors of today's show.
Explore the hills of Donegal with your very own alpaca to guide you. Set out on the stunning Knockemany Ben's Malin Head. Enjoy our natural environment of alpacas, trekking with our herd of alpacas around Ireland's most northerly point. Christmas vouchers available on our website, wildalpacaway.com. Also family trek team building, hen parties, birthday parties. Call us on 087 666 5106.
Give the gift of sport from Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure. New O'Neill's Harlem Donegal range. Quarter zips with matching bottoms, jackets and hats. Look the part, play the part. Click bmcsports.ie.
At Centra, we have everything you need for Christmas, like selected Nestle pouches, multi-packs and sharing bags, and you 3 for €3. Centra Fresh Irish Ham Fillets 1.8 to 2 kilo, €8 each. And until Sunday, our Christmas cracker offer is Santa Rita 120 range, €7 each. Centra, live every day. Enjoy, go sensibly.
At Electric Ireland, electric vehicle drivers can enjoy up to 7,500 kilometres of free at-home electric vehicle charging with 100% green electricity. That's up to 7,500 kilometres of possibilities. From seeing friends and family to taking road trips and making memories. Visit electricireland.ie/greenev to switch today. Electric Ireland. We're brighter together. Estimated annual bill €1,225. New customers on 1-year residential green electricity plan. Discounted unit rate, standing charge and PSO levy. See electricireland.ie/greenev for terms and conditions.
Santa is in his magical grotto in the Courtyard Shopping Centre every day this week from 12 to 5. Great gifts and delicious food in a festive atmosphere. The Courtyard Letterkenny, open every Sunday from 10 to 6.
People don't become successful by accident. You've got to know what you want. So take off your shoes. Sit down. Reach no further than your tablet. Type in Skoda and you've won. Smile about doing less while some other guy is doing loads. Yawn like you've never yawned before. Smile again about the offers from 0%. Then configure your perfect car and fill out the easy online finance application. It's never been easier to be successful. Finance provided by way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Terms and conditions apply. Visit skoda.ie for further information.
Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Cllr Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 9721 396.
Give the gift that's on everyone's wish list this Christmas. The Seascape Spa at the Cllr Tassie Hotel, offering gift vouchers, gift sets, stocking fillers and expert gifting advice. 9126251. Vouchers also available online at silvertassiehotel.com.
Okay, I do have another outbreak to squeeze in before the end of the programme, so that's kind of really it from us. Greg, ask the experts if I can get contact with any of them. If you're an expert, ring in.
Oh dear.
Is the Pluto TV app free to view? I see the app is on my Fire Stick. Pluto TV sounds free to view. Thanks for the tip on Star Trek show. As I can see, wasn't out of this world, so to speak. Don't miss out on the 140 PG Christmas TV guide tomorrow. In the Sunday papers, as the RT guide usually runs out on New Year's Eve, and you only really get knitting patterns okay for some. Thanks from Kevin in a chilly Dunlow.
We used to look forward to that when we were kids.
There's always someone in the family circles everything. Well, we had a person that did it.
We used to love getting it, and then everybody would get a go. Yeah. And then first dibs. That was the joy of being the eldest. You got first dibs on it. I love it.
Okay.
And then you could circle the ones and make all the rest of them watch what you want to watch.
Enjoy Spider-Man No Way Home, Michael, and tell us next week what it was like, if you don't mind.
I will, and I'm seeing here, Pluto is 100% free and legal. It's just after Googling it here, so it is free.
Well, streaming in this country is a grey area, whether it's illegal or not. Downloading is illegal. Streaming, not so much. Listen, thanks so much.
Brilliant, guys. Great to chat to you. Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye. Fionnuala, thank you.
Absolutely. Don't forget, David is on the Late Late tonight. There's a tribute to Daniel.
Right.
I think Daniel is, I don't want to say he's 60 if he's not, but I think he is.
60,
he's 60 at the weekend.
I'm sure he's proud of it.
Yeah, and they're having it. Well, he's probably like me. You got to hit the zeros, party hard.
Yeah, exactly.
So David's going to be on the tribute on the Late Late. So
well done,
tune in tonight.
David. All right, well done, Fionnuala. See you next week, back after these messages with the weather. Well, actually, we seem to be having a technical issue there. We'll take this break now once I fix the computer whilst I'm waffling. Here you are.
Today's show was brought to you by the Seascape Spa at the Silvertassie Hotel, offering indulgent treatments and luxurious gifts to suit all pockets. Call and collect available on 9125619.
Hi, Mary Ford here. If you're thinking of upgrading your car, borrow from Letterkenny Credit Union. Our loans have a competitive rate of interest, free life insurance, no hidden extras or deposit, and a speedy decision. Remember, you own the car. There is no mileage constraints with a loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Online application, collection, and transfer to your current account now available. Apply via our app or in our office today. Loans are subject to approval. Terms and conditions apply. Letterkenny Credit Union is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Get ready for Christmas at Century Complex. Try our tasty Christmas menu at Backstage and watch your favourite Christmas movie at Century Cinemas. You can even book a private VIP cinema experience. Get in touch on 074 91211976 or check centurycinemas.ie for more information on Century Complex.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
Something exciting is happening at Dunn Stores. The Dunn Stores Christmas Millionaire Draw is now on, with winners in every store every week. For our grand prize, one lucky shopper will become our Dunn Stores Christmas Millionaire, winning 1 million value club card points. That's your shopping for the whole year worth €10,000. Simply come in store and swipe your value club cards to enter. Swipe and win today with the Dunn Stores Christmas Millionaire Draw. Terms and conditions apply. See dunstores.com for details.
Here at Cllr Quality Meats Ballybuffet, we are now taking orders for an extensive range of farm-fresh turkeys, bronze turkeys and hand-fed geese and ducks. Choose from our home-cured hams and our delicious selection of beef, lamb and pork, direct from our own farms in the Finn Valley. Just give our artisan craft butchers a call to make your Christmas special with quality you can trust at Cllr Quality Meats Ballybuffet. Call 074 9131 548.
Planning an extra special get-together? The The Silver Tassie's Relaxation to a Tea package is available midweek throughout December, including Christmas afternoon tea for two plus a relaxing treatment in the Seascape Spa. Inquiries on 9126251.
Now on our website, highlandradio.com, we've got a great colouring competition for 13 and unders. There's 3 categories and we've got a great batch of prizes. I know Fionnuala very passionate about this, so she has some great prizes gotten together for you young people that wish to enter. You can download the image off our Facebook page, as I mentioned, and colour it in, and the details of where to send it and when to send it are on the website as well. So get involved and have a bit of fun with that. And also, I just want to mention on the programme that Highland Radio will make it an extra special Christmas for one of you lucky people out there. It's our big Christmas giveaway. We've got 500 litres of home heating oil from O'Donnell's Fuels Crawley. We've got a fantastic gold meat hamper from Joe McGee Butchers in Letterkenny and Glencar Shopping Centre. All your Christmas goodies in a deluxe hamper from Kelly's Central Letterkenny. And finally, for your last minute needs, a €200 Shop LK gift card courtesy of Letterkenny Chamber of Commerce. To enter, all you have to do is answer the following question. In the Fairy Tale of New York song, what were the boys of the NYPD choir singing? Text Highland followed by your answer, name and address to 57080, or from Northern Ireland 87121. Your entry will cost €2 or $1.50 sterling. Operators network charges may apply. The winner will be announced on the Jive Time show on the 22nd of December. Right, that's where we have to leave it. We're back with you on Monday. Have a fantastic weekend. John Breslin's around the northwest. After, we cross over now for the very latest news at 12 noon from Catherine Gaffney. Good afternoon, Catherine.
Good afternoon, Greg. New guidance